Warning, the following podcast contains spoilers. So if you don't want to know that Muffy is her homicidal twin sister Buffy, and it was all just an elaborate prank, stop listening now.
The International House of Horror.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the International House of Horror podcast, a low-budget podcast for low-budget horror movies. As always, I'm your host, Rocco, aka the Mad Pancaker, and across from me is my co-host, none other than Scary Perry.
Hello there.
How you doing over there, Scary Perry?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Are you ready to dive into some hotcakes?
Yes.
And for those first-time listeners, Hotcakes is our little catch-all opening segment where we talk about horror news, horror movies we've been watching recently that we aren't going into a deep dive review of, or pickups, horror memorabilia that we picked up, and other random news. First off, we have a correction from our last episode. So in it, we briefly talked about the Leprechaun and the Lucky Charms, whether it was supposed to be in there, whether it wasn't. So it turns out that that's... after doing some more research, it was more like a rumor that's come about in more recent years as opposed to an actual fact and has been disputed, I guess. So it was always supposed to be knockoff Lucky Charms, and they never actually were going to get the real Lucky Charms to be used. From what we gathered, we looked a little more into it, so we were both completely wrong.
But I'm the leprechaun.
God, I'm the leprechaun. Oh, good old Warwick Davis. So moving on from the correction, so we got some more sad news. Unfortunately, we have another passing in the horror community. So yeah, this one hits pretty close to me because I'm a big fan of this guy. So Giovanni Lombardo Radice, also known as, under his American name pseudonym that Italians like to use, John Morgan, passed away. He starred in a lot of Italian horror movies. City of the Living Dead, to name one. I'm blanking on things that he's been in. Oh, Cannibal Ferox. He's been in a ton of stuff. Stage Fright. And if you know anything about him, he always usually ends up dying in these movies. He'll be sadly missed. He provided us a lot of entertaining roles over the years. So rest in peace, Giovanni.
Rest in peace.
Moving on to some more upbeat news. So talk about some pickups. Hold on, do we want to go over what
Pickup?
Do we want to do watches first or pickups? I think we should do watches. What we've watched.
Watches,
yeah, because that's usually how I got it in reverse order, my notes. But that way, because I don't know if you have any pickups for this week. But
I do have.
Okay, so
It's in this bag that I found in Delores'
secret bag.
trunk.
Secret bag.
I found stuff in Delores' trunk. I went in there. It's a scary place in there. I don't know how you went in there twice.
I've never been in there.
No, you were in there twice. I saw it.
No. Let's see. So first up on things that I've recently watched, I watched Malatista's Carnival of Blood, 1973 horror movie. Watched it on good old Tubi, where you can find all sorts of janky, low-budget horror movies from yesteryear. So the basic premise of this is a family applies for work at a haunted carnival overrun by ghoulish cannibals to find their son who went missing there. This is a very entertaining, surreal, creepy fever dream experience. Although the editing kind of adds to the already confusing plot, there's a lot of like weird cuts, but it kind of enhances it, but it makes it confusing. This is, like I said, it's like a fever dream. And I kind of like that kind of batshit crazy type of movie, you know, where nothing makes sense. So,
you ever seen The Predator? Now, there's a lot of Predators movies. I'm just talking about The Predator.
Yes, I knew which one you were talking about.
That movie is batshit crazy, and I love it.
Notably, it stars, I'm going to butcher this name, Hervé Villechaize. Easier just to say what he has been. He played
Herbie Hancock.
No, not that guy. He's the little person. I don't know if that's the proper term to use, but that played Knick Knack in the James Bond movie, The Man with the Golden Gun, right?
Okay.
And Fantasy Island, he's the plane guy.
The plane.
Yeah. Okay. So been in a ton of stuff over the years.
Oh, Tattoo. His name's Tattoo.
I couldn't remember.
I got a tattoo of Tattoo.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his name from Fantasy Island. I just always knew he said the plane. So yeah, I really like this one. It is a bit confusing. It's got a low budget, but fun effects for that low budget. They're not going to wow you. They're not great effects, but they're fun effects. I gave it a rating of 3.5 pancakes. So swing it back over to you, Scary Perry. What have you been watching of late?
Ooh, okay. Me and Murky Molador, I believe he had seen it before, but I haven't. I'm not as, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, like you've seen...
Savvy?
Not
savvy.
Savvy. Is that savvy?
Maybe. I don't know.
I haven't... There's still a lot of horror...
Well-versed?
Yeah, well-versed. Well-versed. There's a lot of horror, like iconic horror movies that I haven't seen in different...
Yeah, there's a few I haven't seen too.
But I watched The Fly 1986. I know this was a remake, but with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. Excuse me.
Yep.
And I watched this with Murky Molador, and I'm just going to give you a little bit about it. The acting was superb from both of those two, and the special effects were awesome in this movie.
It is great.
I don't know if they won an award.
Who does the special effects in that?
Oh, I
don't know if it's some big name guy. I'm sure it probably is. But whenever I think of The Fly, like it's never like The Thing where it's Rob Bottin, did the Thing effects. Like that type of stuff doesn't stick with me. You know what I mean? Whenever I think of The Fly.
Yeah. So anywho, so special effects were great. So like seeing a movie, like when you've seen a lot of, I guess, contemporary horror movies in the past, 15, 20 years, whatever, you've seen a lot of like monster shaped movies, right? So at the time, I'm sure this was something pretty good in '86. And this is really good special effects, but like, I'm just saying, like, it's not like in my mind, I'm thinking, well, this isn't the best monster movie. I couldn't think of a better one off the top of my head. But then you go back and you got to realize, this was there. I mean, there was other stuff, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not so much like a monster movie, though. I mean, towards the end when he transforms, it kind of becomes more, because he's attacking them. But it's not like a monster on the loose, on the rampage type of movie.
Yeah. I mean, I like what it is, and
it's
although it's not like the scariest movie, it's just like
Yeah, it's the David Cronenberg style is kind of like a lot of body horror.
Yeah, it's like
so you
it's
got
science.
All the weird stuff
it's science fiction, which I like.
Yeah,
that's obviously that's the point of it. That Goldblum's a scientist trying to make the teleporter. So really enjoyed that movie. I gave it 4 cannolis out of 5. Nice, solid, classic movie.
I'd probably rate it a little higher. It is very good with the effects. Has a good, solid plot to it. Like I said, David Cronenberg. I don't know. After seeing Videodrome, I'm not sure what my favorite David Cronenberg film is anymore. The Fly is pretty high up there, but Videodrome, you want to talk about another fever dream movie, Videodrome. We'll have to talk about that one someday. It's got James Woods in it.
Oh, okay. So the Academy Award-winning makeup was designed and executed by Chris Wallace. Or Wallace.
The name sounds familiar.
Incorporated over a period of 3 months. WALAS. But yeah, I want to see The Fly too. I know it's not probably as...
Oh man, The Fly 2 is a fun thing.
Yeah.
We may have done a spoiler intro with The Fly 2 before.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one that I saw, so I'll throw it back to you.
You know what's been funny though?
I have a few though today.
It always seems like every week I mention the spoiler, I end up picking... Like, after I was done, because I edit it way before, then I record the spoiler, I didn't realize I talked about the spoiler that we did for the Leprechaun episode in the Leprechaun episode. I'm like, oh, well, I've been doing that a lot lately, too. So,
well, it goes over my head if I haven't seen it, so.
Anyways, moving on. Up next, I watched a movie we briefly talked about back in our, I believe, our New Year's Evil episode. That got brought up during the review of that movie. Because it's one of the movies that might appear on screen in there, or is mentioned. It's a different name. It was like, it turned out it wasn't this movie, but I watched Herschel Gordon Lewis's Blood Feast, 1963. It's Lewis's splatter tale of a caterer killing women and using their body parts for a ritual feast to Egyptian goddess Ishtar. Surprisingly bloody and gore-filled for the 60s, a fun film, despite some overacting and hammy performances. Overall, it was just okay. Like I said, it's pretty bloody for the time. It's a little predictable, it's pretty straightforward in what you expect from this type of movie. But a lot of like good effects for that era and really bloody stuff. Like I said, you don't usually, see that much splatter fest of a film back in the day. So overall, I gave it 3 pancakes. Like I said, a solid little film. Back to you, Scary Perry, for your next hot cake.
So I saw a more obvious, or not obviously a contemporary movie. I saw the Pope's Exorcist that came out
Heard a lot
earlier
about
this
that
year.
recently.
It stars Russell Crowe. It's a movie about like demonic possession, and he's the chief exorcist of the Vatican. But he goes somewhere in Spain because a demon surfaces. Just what I was saying in this movie, this Russell Crowe, I thought he did a great performance. Like, he's really...
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
He's a good actor.
It was really good. So, like, while this is, to me, not on the same level as most of the Conjuring movies, I enjoy those. I think this stands alone, like, by itself. It doesn't have to be part of that universe. Is it
supposed to be part of that universe?
No, it's not. I'm just saying. It just will be like when somebody goes... I know there's been a lot over the years, like Insidious and other demonic possession movies, but like The Conjuring, because
the Exorcist,
because this is kind of based on a true story, with
I think by base they just mean from what I gathered, it could be circumstantial, but the real story is just that there was a Pope's exorcist. It's not based on anything like
I don't know if
realistically
the case was,
insane.
I don't know.
Yeah, the case is pretty much bullshit. It's just that there was a Pope. The Pope did have like a personal head exorcist. But nothing like he ever did anything like batshit crazy, you know what I mean? And like
I don't
was ever in mortal danger or anything like that.
But it's enjoyable nonetheless, even though, I guess you have some suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
Obviously it's a fictional, whatever, horror movie. Yeah, I definitely recommend actually watching this, and I gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay. I've heard some decent things about it. I mean, it's like your run-of-the-mill Exorcist type film, You've seen one, you've seen a lot of them. All right, so up next, I watched Skinner, 1993 horror movie.
Oh, is that Stephen King?
No, you're thinking Thinner. No, this is Skinner. And the basic plot of it is Ted Raimi skins prostitutes while staying with Ricky Lake and being hunted by former victim Tracy Lords. So, I mean, a lot
this
of
cast seems
there.
A little...
Raimi and Lords give fantastic performances, accompanied by moody lighting and a score by Contagion. This was a really excellent film. It's got great effects by K&B, some really gross effects too. Obviously, it's called Skinner, so you can figure that he skins a lot of these victims, and he even wears their skins at times, so that's all really creepy. I love Ted Raimi. Ted Raimi's just great. Yeah. Overall, I gave this 5 pancakes. Not quite with syrup, but it could get there maybe with a rewatch. Yeah, it's beautifully shot. It's got some excellent cinematography. It's very visual, and like I said, great acting performances, great gore. I mean, what more could you want from a movie? So yeah, I gave it not quite the syrup because I'm actually surprised that Tracy Lords acts as well as she does. I haven't seen too many of her films. Well,
what films?
No, because she transitioned. Obviously, if you know Tracy Lords, she was a porn star.
Yeah,
but she switched over to regular acting.
I don't know which films you watched.
And I guess she's actually a pretty good actress from everything I've heard, actually, which is surprising.
I've heard of her being in a lot of stuff. So
yeah, but I mean, she did a bang-up job in this one.
I forget the one...
Pun intended.
Or switched to regular acting out of porn. Riley Reid, maybe within the last 10 or 15 years.
Oh, really? I have not seen anything with her in it. A regular movie.
Yeah. Would You Rather? That's one of them.
Oh, is it? Okay, I've heard of that one.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, interesting. Anyways, send it back over to you, Scary Perry.
All right, I saw another movie that came out earlier this year, Evil Dead Rise.
Ooh, that's a recent topic going on right now.
So I watched this myself. So going into this, okay. So I've seen with you Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, but this was a while ago, right? Mm-hmm. And I've never seen Army of Darkness or watched the Evil Dead series, so I know a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. Not a lot,
right?
I'm not a big.
Yeah, I think this one's more just from the trailers and everything. Looks a little more like the style of the Evil Dead remake. I haven't seen this yet. I do want to see it.
I haven't even seen that.
Yeah.
But I Googled, basically, do I need to watch anything before I see
I knew. Yeah, I knew you did.
It said no.
Yeah, you don't have to.
So I'm sure there's
probably a lot of Easter eggs.
Oh, there is. I believe he's not in the movie, Bruce Campbell, as Ash.
Correct. He makes a cameo.
He makes a cameo on a voice thing. So the gore and the special effects in this movie, they were outstanding. Really good. I mean, this movie is like... It's just, it's, what am I saying? It's like, I don't want to say it's bad shit, but it's, it's crazy when they're deadites and they're just going insane. So this movie basically takes place in just like one apartment and a little bit throughout the complex, like maybe the parking garage. Mm-hmm. So some movies like that to me tend to get boring a little bit. Like I don't know, I just kind of get, a little bored.
It's the classic monster in the house.
Yeah. No, I don't think that changes anything. I mean, but anywho, the Necronomicons are in basically it's, I'm not going to spoil this, like the whole movie, but this kid.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
That's all right. Can I just say
what?
How everything starts or no?
No, you can go ahead.
They're in California, right? And
yeah, I know a little bit.
Mini earthquake happens, and this kid discovers this room like below the parking garage.
Yeah,
that has
I know about that.
All this the Necronomicon and whatever, and some tapes. I'm not gonna go into any more.
I know the mom gets possessed because that's in the trailers.
The mom gets possessed. So yeah, core special effects were good. Some acting. I mean, so I'm thinking if I go back and I just get some knowledge, even though maybe they're not the biggest premise in it, but the Easter eggs, that this would be even better. But as it stands, I recommend watching this. I give it a 3.5 right now out of 5. And this has changed. This is definitely variable. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good one.
Yeah, I do want to see it. I know everybody thought, oh, the trailer's really awesome. I don't really like the look of the new Deadites because they look similar to like the Evil Dead remake style Deadites. I don't know. I just kind of like the old school look of them. Like with the white eyes. I mean, I know they used those painful contact lenses back in the day. But I mean, they could easily do an effect like that nowadays, like with just the solid white eyes without having to put the actor through excruciating pain, But I don't know. They
did this.
I've seen the effects do look good. There's some cool stuff like from the trailer that I've seen. I'm curious how much CGI is used and, and how good it is. Because, I mean, if if you enhance stuff with CGI, that's fine,
Yeah, but
when you start CGI...
You don't want to go in excess, yeah.
Yeah, like in a lot of those modern possession things, that's where they, start twitching and moving super fast and shaking, banging their head against the wall, at the speed of light.
Yeah.
And that looks so fake when they do that type of CGI stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're just, enhancing stuff, it's fine. I want to see it. I think it'll be okay. I still have some reservations just because, it's a modern horror movie.
There's this scene in the movie that's kind of like something in The Shining. I'm not going to go more into details, but it was pretty good.
So next up, I watched Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, continuing with my Nightmare on Elm Street series rewatch. So in this one, the series has reached full camp/ham. It's filled with fun gags, kills, and one-liners, and I love it. Although the 3D scenes probably don't hold up, England is great again, along with solid performances from Lisa Zane and Yaphet Kotto. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff, but he was an alien. I think he plays, can't remember his name. He's the guy that beats in Ash the robot's head with the fire extinguisher and says he's a robot. Yeah, like I said, it's got great kills, but perhaps the weakest Freddy makeup. But maybe he is healing, kind of because he's getting powerful from all the souls he's been taking over the years. I unapologetically love this movie. It's one of my favorites from when I was a kid, and I don't care what anybody says about it. I know this one is way lower on a lot of other people's lists, but I love this one. I've often talked about how horror movies, as a series goes on, it becomes harder to keep them serious, and a lot of times it's easier for you just to embrace the campy comedic elements and go that way, so that way at least you're keeping your franchise fun and enjoyable. And I feel like that's what the Nightmare series did really well, just because it becomes harder to come up with fresh, serious material for a franchise. I've talked about how the Halloween franchise tries to stay serious and doesn't really do it too well. Every once in a while, you can get that magic back. Obviously, New Nightmare is a good, serious horror film in a franchise.
You didn't think Halloween Ends was serious?
Oh, Halloween, 2018 was more serious.
Yeah,
well, no, Halloween Ends was trying to be serious. That was the problem, man.
You mean Christine too?
Yeah, exactly. This one, really highly rated for me. I give it 5 pancakes. No syrup, because I do recognize it's camp and, But I don't care what anybody says. I love this one. And I know I'm not doing my series ranking, but this is my 3rd favorite Nightmare film. I think it's the best of the non-Dream Warrior sequels. And that's counting New Nightmare. I know people really love New Nightmare, but I haven't rewatched New Nightmare yet, but I'm getting around to it. And then you can hear my thoughts on it in an upcoming Hot Cake. I'll send it back over to you for another Hot Cake, Perry.
All right. This one was... This is just me being at Dollar Tree to pick up a card for my mom for Mother's Day. And I was with
that you totally didn't buy the day before Mother's Day.
Yeah, I did. So you were there shopping in Murky Mall, right?
Oh, yes.
And then I usually look at the DVDs there or the Blu-rays, and sometimes you might find a gem for $1.
I mean, they had Rampage there, didn't they?
Yeah, and it's probably Mexican. Sometimes or Spanish films because they have or dubbed whatever. Because sometimes they do that. So I saw this movie and the poster looked cool. It's called Poker Night.
Oh, jeez.
And it has I actually found a second one that looks good. It has like this like guy in a mask holding cards and kind of looks, I don't know. It almost looks like it reminds me of the Scarecrow mask from the Batman Begins movie. I'm like, I picked it up and I knew this was going to be crap. And the cashier's like, he's like, you're wasting your money on this movie or something like that. What did he say? Do you remember what he said?
Something along those
He's
lines.
like, this could be the worst movie ever. And I'm like, yeah. All right, I watched this with Murky Molador because some chicken wouldn't stay and watch it. Probably.
I was tired.
Nah, it's fine.
And I also did not want to watch it because I already knew this movie was going to be a train wreck. But continue.
All right. Okay, this is probably not an actual horror movie. It's more of a crime thriller, and there's nuances with thrillers. Okay, but this, I wouldn't consider this, I don't know, a horror movie. But so basically,
But that stock horror slasher movie cover.
yeah. I mean, the second poster is really good. That one might be stock, but the second one looks good. This stars, it's a young detective basically going to like a poker game, but like there's a lot of flashbacks and flash forwards and flashy flashes.
Always
in
the
this
sign
movie.
of a quality movie.
Oh my God. Basically, he gets kidnapped by a serial killer with this girl that he's been seeing, and this girl happens, I'm probably spoiling everything, happens to be one of these other policemen at the poker table's daughter. And so basically all these people around this table have dealt with different things, and it's not about this serial killer, but different like crimes throughout their career. He's like put in the shoes of all these different people around the table, and like somehow this helps him to try to escape from the serial killer. And I don't know, it's just goofy. I mean, Ron Perlman's in this movie and Giancarlo Esposito. So like that was one thing. I'm like, no, those are two okay actors sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. It was really bad. A lot of back and forth. And the serial killer was really goofy. Not all the time, but some of the time. And the one time they don't show it all, but he super glues the main character on like a stainless steel wall. And then he's saying how many tubes it costs of super glue. It's like over 300 tubes of super glue or whatever. And it's just like, what? Like shit that doesn't make sense. It was boring, ultra confusing. It had a terrible ending. I wouldn't recommend ever watching this.
So it's not so bad, it's good.
No. I'm going to give it 1 star because some of those things where they put
One. Whoa.
1, that's it. Maybe this should maybe even be a half. Actually, you know what? Screw this. A half. This is a half star. I don't want to give this 0 because I'm not going to say
there's
like
some redeeming element in it.
It's not that horrible. Some of the acting with these flashback scenes and him, like the main character taking the spot of these people, because they're in like different time frames. Some are in like maybe the 80s and like 70s or whatever. They seem, I don't want to say well acted, but it's like a kind of neat concept, but it's horribly confusing. So we're just going to give it 1 on that. Don't touch this movie with a 10-foot pole, but yeah. And it's not really a horror movie. So
Okay.
So back to you, my friend.
All right. My last watch that isn't a pickup. We have Auntie Lee's Meat Pies from 1992.
Meat pies.
Yes.
Delores, where's my meat pie pancakes?
You're not getting anything from Delores. I think she's on her like extended smoke break.
She's a bitch. Isn't
like
she?
her 5-hour
What do you
smoke
think
break.
about her?
She's like the worst waitress ever.
We should just go in the kitchen.
Jay Bones really needs to get some more staff.
I can't go in the kitchen though.
Better
'cause
staff.
Did you see that kitchen floor? It's all greasy and dirty. I don't know what Jay Bones. He's just like a madman.
That's because Dolores isn't mopping the floors at night.
Is it Delores or
It's
is it Jay
Dolores.
Bones?
No, it's Dolores. It's all Dolores.
Where's
Jay
yours?
Bones has his skeleton fingers full, just trying to cook all the shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, so this one's got Karen Black and her playmate nieces lure in and kill men for their meat pies. For their
What
meat
year
pies.
was
For
this?
make,
Sorry.
this is 1992.
Okay.
So Karen Black and her playmate nieces lure in and kill men for their meat pies, as in the meat pies that they're making. Very derivative of Motel Hell, but more sexy and still fun. Pat Morita plays a sheriff. The ADR is very bad at
Mr.
times.
Miyagi?
Yes, Mr. Miyagi. Ridiculous and silly, but still entertaining. And my notes here about Pat Morita, he plays an ex-World War II Japanese soldier as a sheriff, but has a southern accent and is in California. Like, I know Southern California may be considered part of the South, and you might have a Southern accent, but it's very strange. It's like he has this samurai swords in his sheriff office. It's really weird. I did like it, though. It's just kind of okay, but like I said, it's one of those cheesy, fun films. You know what? Like I said, her nieces are all played by, like, ex-playmates or, like, porn stars and shit like that. So you know what you would expect from this one. Overall, I gave it 3 pancakes. You know, like I said, it's one of those campy, fun, cheesy times. I do have a note that this is a Steiner film. I'm like, is this guy a distant cousin of the Archon or something? Yeah, see, I'm more layered than you think, people. I'm into more stuff than just horror.
Like Scott Steiner?
Yeah, we'll go with Scott Steiner. He's a distant cousin of the Archon, too. And that's it for the watches that aren't pickups. Are you ready to dive into pickups, or do you have any more watches for this?
Yeah, I saw.
You got one more? All right, go dive into
actually, on Mother's Day, I saw Mother's Day 1980. Whew. There's a lot to take.
Directed by Charles Kaufman.
Yes, there's a lot to take in this movie.
I think it's a Troma release. I think Troma was around then.
The premise is a group of college, roommates. Every year since after graduating college or whatever, they go on a little vacation or whatever. This time they decide to go to like on some kind of lake in the woods. Sounds awfully like Friday the 13th, but somewhere outside of New Jersey or whatever. Basically, you have this crazy mother who is like controlling over 2 sons that look inbred or whatnot, and they kidnap people and do what they will with them. I don't know how much detail I want to go into this movie. Some of it is goofy. So, like, the mother wants them to act out like scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just real odd. Like, she's like a movie director. It's not labeled as a comedy, but you're telling me it's Troma, so it should be a comedy.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a horror comedy.
So, but there's some faux pas in it, you know, some taboo stuff, like elements. There's that a lot of people like. They don't show a lot, but there's a couple like implied, you know, rape scenes in it. Watch it at first, you kind of.
You told me they didn't have the balls like Roger Corman to show a giant worm rape a woman. I mean, excuse me, Harvey Weinstein a woman.
But like, other than that, some of the comedic elements are funny. The ending, like some of the kills and stuff, are pretty good. But yeah, some elements of the comedy are funny, but most seem perverted or corny. And I don't know. To me, it was just okay. I give it a 2.5. I think you like this movie, but
I haven't seen this movie, but I know of it.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
I know it's probably right up my alley. To sum it up, from what I gather, it's a little bit of I Spit on Your Grave plus The Last House on the Left with the creepy guys, and a little bit of The Hills Have Eyes with the hillbilly.
Yeah, but but everything encompassing that is comedy, but not at first. It comes later because there's like a beginning scene of like the mother. It's some weird motivational speaker. They like.
Yes, I'm aware.
I've
seen enough reviews of this to know what it's about.
I'm just telling you, like they take the woman, they offer a ride somewhere, and then like she realizes, or the mother pretends the car breaks down. And she's under the hood screwing it up. And meanwhile, I don't know, there's the one son wears this like crazy looking mask. He must have like super god strength. He just randomly, you just see a knife fly in through the window and just chop this lady's head, decapitates her. Yeah. Like freaking superhuman strength. And then there's another, like before that, they're like on the top of the car with her, like fondling her boobs and stuff. I'm like, what is going on? It's a bit crazy. It's, but we'll stand with the 2.5 on that. And that's
like I said, I haven't seen it. I know of it. I know the basic premise. One of those typical, little bit like a rape revenge film. And
yeah. Comedy, rape, revenge, sure, something like that. Yeah.
Well, like an exploitation film. Anyways, so that's everything you watched this week, Perry. So moving on to pickups. I picked up some stuff because MVD had a sale going on, so picked up some stuff from them. So first up, I'll run through these real quick and then throw it back to Scary Perry. So we got a film that I talked about watching in a previous Hotcake before, but I picked up I picked up a physical copy of it. Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell, aka the Japanese Evil Dead. Very on topic for what we've been talking about. So I've covered that one before. If you like Evil Dead, you'll probably love this. Very low budget charm to it, a passion project. But very fun film, and I forget how much I gave it. It was probably
I like
at least
DVD
4.
Cover. That is cool.
Yeah, it's got a pretty cool slip cover on there. So then up next, another thing I picked up Evil Dead Trap. Like I said, not to be confused with the Japanese Evil Dead, because in Japanese, the name is actually something quite different. I don't know why they came up with the name Evil Dead Trap for English markets. It's not really Evil Dead-esque, but another very fun film. If you want to know more about it, I won't dive into detail on it. I did a short stack over on my website, themadpancaker.com. You can read about it there. I did post it on the day Evil Dead Rise came out, tied in the title with that. So And you can see what I said there. And up next, so we
So
got
this one's
Evil Dead Trap 2, Hideki.
This one's not open. You haven't seen
Yeah, I haven't watched this one yet.
Hideki.
So I don't know how good the sequel is compared to the original, but I knew Evil Dead Trap 1 was good, so when I picked it up, and I figured, what the heck, I'll bite the bullet on the sequel and check it out.
Are these dubbed?
Evil Dead Trap was subtitled.
Okay.
I don't know if there is a dub of it, but obviously, if there was, it would probably be on the disc. So these were subtitled, so there's that. Same with Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell. That one was dubbed as well. So I imagine that one's dubbed too. There's a third one, but I guess the third one was has nothing to do with the first two, but is just a sequel in name only in the US.
It's called Evil Dead Trap Rise.
Not quite.
All right.
All right. Then up next, so we got Nightwish. This is another fun film. So let me go to my because I did watch this one, so I got it in my book here.
This sounds familiar for some reason.
Kind of a spoiler here about it. Where is it in my notes here? There it is. Nightwish from 1989. This most famously is the inception of horror movies, except it came out before Inception, so Inception should really be the Nightwish of non-horror movies, I guess. It's a very entertaining mashup of many tropes. It's bizarre and fascinating with great effects by, once again, K&B, knocking it out of the park again. This is kind of one of those movies that has, I don't know if it's better than it has any right to be, but it's really fun. There's some really cool hammy performances in it. Most notably, it's got my man Clayton Ronner in there again. We talked about Clayton Ronner in our April Fool's Day episode, so go back and listen to that if you haven't. Overall, it is very confusing, but I love this movie. It's got a really great ending, and I gave it 4.5 pancakes. Moving on to the next. So this is the last of my MVD sale pickup before I flip it over back to Perry. So we got Heartland of Darkness. So it's also sometimes referred to as Blood Church. It was shot in 1989, but it kind of fell into obscurity. This was a lost Linnea Quigley film for a long time, but after 30 years, finally out, baby. I haven't watched this one yet, but I've heard good things about it. Good things in that it's definitely not a great movie, but it's another one of those cheesy fun movies. And I mean, I'll watch anything with Linnea Quigley in it. I mean, Linnea Quigley's in it, so there's a 99% chance that she's going to go topless. So you know how that is, and an 80% chance that'll happen in a shower. Hey, I don't make the rules, people. That's
He's got the Steiner mouth.
It's in her contract, I guess. But I look forward to checking that one out. I've watched reviews of it. Like I said, definitely not a good film, but probably campy, so bad it's good. It's probably a little bit long on the runtime. Probably could have trimmed it down to improve the pacing, probably. But I haven't seen it yet, but just from what I've heard about it. All right, Scary Perry, what hotcakes you got over there hidden in your bag of...
Well, speaking of the Evil Dead, my friends, Yasmin and Lynn from St. Louis,
Ooh.
They went and saw an Evil Dead 2 movie party.
Oh, that's cool.
In St. Louis. So I got a little Necronomicon notebook.
Oh, that's
cool.
Evil
Dead 2 movie party.
Little pocket notebook there.
Decomposition notebook, yeah. And 2 ash chainsaws. It says bloody on one side and groovy. Well,
it's pretty neat.
Here, you can have an extra chainsaw.
Oh, thanks.
It's
like a little foam type chainsaw.
So you put your hand in there.
Oh, does it? You put your hand in there? That's
vroom, 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 vroom.
Yeah.
So you can be like Ash.
Yeah, there you go. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So thank you
Groovy, baby.
Thank you to those 2.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. And thank you.
They know I like horror and stuff. So
that's cool.
They're friends from a card game I play, and then they know I like horror, so they got those from me.
Cool.
So thank you to them. Back to you.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right.
That's it.
So I'll run through some more pickups. So these are the last of my pickups. Bit of mishmash of other companies I picked up stuff from. So we'll start with a Arrow Video pickup. So we got Giallo Essentials White. So in this one we have, and this one was kind of a bummer because
John Saxon.
No John Saxon. This one. Are all these? No. One's the Suspicious Death of the Minor is not from the one guy. Unfortunately, this one was one like I'm like, because I've been getting all the Giallo Essentials, but I already the Suspicious Death of a Minor, which is in this. I was like, so I waited for it to go on sale before picking up because I'm like, I don't want to buy another copy of a movie I already have because I have a Sergio Martino box set that has this in this. So I was like, oh well, I guess I own 2 copies of it. The Suspicious Death of a Minor, which I watched back the day. That one's a little more of like a Polizzi, don't ask me how you pronounce it, the Italian police film, than a straight Giallo. So it's got some more comedic elements in it, a little more lighthearted, but that's a fun one. Then we have The Night Evelyn Came Out of the Grave, which I did watch. I didn't rewatch The Suspicious Death of Minor, but I watched the 2 that I haven't seen yet. I wanted to get this one because it's got 2 well-known Giallos in it. And the night Evelyn came out of the grave is it's about a man goes insane as his dead wife haunts him, but is it a ghost or something else? So this is a fun giallo with a lot of gothic elements and a great twist with a triple cross. Although the protagonist is a murderer, which is really kind of weird. It's got a good score. It's directed by Emilio P. Mariglia, who also did the giallo The Red Queen Kills 7 Times. Which was that the movie that was Blood Feast, or was it the night Evelyn came out of her grave was the movie that was Blood Feast? And, and it was one of those two, I think.
No, I think that was the actual movie playing the Queen one.
The Queen, the Red Queen one? Okay. I couldn't remember, but I knew it was one of these two. So,
I mean, if you want me to look at
I do recommend it. I did really like this one. It's got a great ending, kind of original with the triple cross. I mean, not that that's not an uncommon thing in giallos, but just the way it was done was very clever. I gave it 3.5 pancakes. Could go up maybe to 4 at some time, but it was pretty solid. And then the other one in this box set is The Iguana with the Tongue of Fire, which was like a cash-in name off of Dario Argento's giallo trilogy, Animal Trilogy. So I heard a lot of things about this one, so I really wanted to check this one out. The murders center around an ambassador's family and his lovers, while an inspector tries to solve them. It's a bit slow, but it picks up in the last half hour with tons of red herrings, and the red herrings are ridiculous. It'll just zoom in on somebody and be like, bum, 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 it's for whatever. Like, it's like, okay, I get it. That guy's a suspect, and he's probably not the killer, but they do it so much, yeah. They use like a stinger, a Tempo Magazine stinger.
Oh, Tempo Magazine stinger.
So it has a decent twist with 2 killers and stylish cinematography, but based on the things I've heard about it, it was kind of a letdown. I was expecting more. It was just kind of okay. If you're not really into the giallo genre, this one kind of drags a little bit, but it's still entertaining. It's got a good score. Got some strange cutting and editing, though.
No goblin?
But it's got, no goblin. It has a unique acid and razor combo, which is kind of cool. Throws acid on people and also uses a razor. Overall, I just gave this one 2.5. Like I said, I was kind of let down on this. I was hoping this was another like 3.5, 4-star giallo, but not quite, unfortunately. Up next.
Well, this one looks familiar.
Yeah, this one is familiar. So I picked up Blood Rage, classic slasher. We reviewed this back a while ago. Check out our episode about it. It's a really great slasher. So I picked up the Blu-ray, so it's probably got all sorts of cool interviews and stuff that I'll have to check out. Up next, we got some Scream Factory.
Uh-oh.
So we got this 2-pack 4K combo of The Slumber Party Massacre and The Slumber Party Massacre 2. I haven't rewatched these in a while. I definitely want to rewatch them. Very good slasher movies. They're very tonally different between the 2 sequels. The first one is like a straight slasher with this crazy guy that escapes from an institute, whereas the sequel has like this rockabilly rock star dancing and singing killer, which is really, really horror comedy, really fun.
He looks like Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah, he's got this drill guitar for his weapon. In the first one, he's got this famous, very phallic drill bit.
Basically, the drill on each cover is supposed to be a dick.
Oh, 100%. Yes, it's very much the weapon is a phallic symbol, of male dominance and all that stuff. Very most notably, I believe written and directed, were both of them written and directed by a woman? I think so. Although Corman, I think he either produced or did something on these, but he's like, you gotta add in some nudity, and it's like, okay, so. But very fun. I haven't rewatched them from notes yet, but I do want to. I could easily say I probably like the second one better than the first, just because it's like ridiculous, silly fun. It's got kind of like some Nightmare on Elm Street elements to it too, a little bit with like some dream stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And then up next, so this was another one of those, Scream Factory. We're only doing 1,500 copies of this, so fear of missing out. Get it.
So you took the money grab?
I did take... Oh, but I've watched this one before, so I knew what I was getting into. Unlike Meat Cleaver Massacre, which in hindsight, well, you know what movie they also tried to do that, or they did that with?
Which one?
Only 1,500? Creepshow 3. And I know that is god-awful and terrible.
Have we seen that?
No. I've watched reviews of it. It looks terrible, and from everything I've heard, it is terrible. And so you weren't getting me to bite on that. That's one of those, I will gladly stream it and review it one day and never talk about it again or have to watch it again. But this one, though, is actually a good one. It's another fun slasher. It's a Sorority House Massacre. So interestingly enough, they call it a strange mix of Slumber Party Massacre and Halloween. That's an interesting way to slice it up. there's a good and bad thing with this edition. So, of course, new 2K scan, all that type of stuff that they do for these. It has the extended UK cut with additional footage, because this movie's actually pretty short. It's only like, where's the runtime? 74 minutes. But the UK cut takes it up to an hour and a half, roughly. The only downside is when it says UK VHS cut, it means UK VHS cut, as in it's formatted for VHS old tube screen where, whereas the other one, it puts it up in full screen, the regular version. I'm sure that's probably the only element they had of this one, but I haven't dived in to watch that one yet to see all the differences, because there's a few plot holes that I'll cover in here real quick. Basic premise is a psychopath brother hunts his psychically linked sister in a sorority house that used to be their home. Despite heavily borrowing from other slashers, it is still a great experience with fun characters. Another better than it should be film, though light on effects. Like this isn't a very heavy gore movie. Instead, it's got like a lot of good suspense. There's a fun trying on clothes scene where there's a bunch of topless girls and they're all trying on this one rich girl's clothes who's out of town. It's kind of similar to Black Christmas.
Have I seen this?
I don't know if you've seen this or not.
That sounds familiar. Wow.
Like the premise of Black Christmas is everybody like goes away for Christmas vacation except a handful of girls. It's similar to this. Like everybody, I forget where they're going. I don't know if it's like spring break or something, but they all go away for vacation or whatever. These 4 girls stay behind, and of course their guy friends come over, and they all slowly get knocked off. So I knew from watching this, I love this one. The main character, the final girl in this, is Angela O'Neill. And I didn't know she was in Vicious Lips, but the back of the box told me she's in Vicious Lips. I'm like, oh, wow. Another I have a lot to say about Vicious Lips. The short of it is great beginning, great ending, really slow, methodic middle, which makes it very disappointing because it starts off awesome and ends awesome. And you're just like, what the hell happened in the middle of this movie? But yeah, like I said, this is a better than it should be film. I gave it 4.5 pancakes, and I also put down, is it the best Halloween, and then in parentheses, 2, ripoff? Because it does the whole, her brother's the killer thing, and they got like this link. It's very much like a Halloween ripoff, and also a Halloween 2 ripoff, but it does it really well, and it has its own unique ideas. Continuing on, so...
This looks familiar.
This is familiar, so finally picked up my own copy of Happy Birthday to Me, another fun Canucksploitation slasher film from the 80s. Really batshit crazy type of ending. That wasn't supposed to be the original ending, but I wanted a copy. Fucking FYE. Put the sticker on the awesome slipcover. Those fucking bastards.
You bought FYE?
Yeah, they put this. Well, it was actually, it was a decent price too.
When I saw that,
FYE kind of has some overpriced stuff on there, like stuff.
Yeah.
But this was, I'm like, oh, that's reasonably priced. It was like, I forget, like $12-$14 or something for like a Blu-ray. I'm like, Jesus Christ, FYE usually gouges the shit out of you. And I knew this one. Like, this is kind of the same copy I think you have that has, like, the VHS coming out.
That slipcover with that art on there.
Yeah.
With the shish kebab or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That intrigued me. We did a, random Walmart run after getting dinner one night.
That's why I love old 80s box art and stuff, because that is what drew you to a film. This was how they sold a film to you when you were deciding what to rent or what to buy back in the day.
And we bought it and watched it that same night.
Here's the entire cast of a movie on a poster with the logo,
Yeah.
Modern movie posters and box art suck.
I mean, the thing is, though, a lot of movies I don't know now, but then they had different covers, too.
Yeah.
So some appeal to people differently. It's like art is subjective.
But
movie posters are subjective.
So,
in a way.
And then, the last one.
But you want to draw people in.
But yeah, that's another very good slasher. I don't know what stars to give it. I haven't watched it in a while, but I remember really liking it. So up next. So this is not a horror movie, but this is a movie I reference all the time on the channel.
Uh-oh.
It could be a potential April Fool's review one day.
Is it called I Do Like Dick?
I should have played the soundbite too. No, we have Mannequin. With good old Andrew McCarthy, the joke I beat into the ground anytime there's a dummy or mannequin used for a stunt.
We should have won this song.
Yeah, it would have been interesting. I don't know. I didn't have this at the time. I don't know what else I would have had him sign.
Weekend at Bernie's too.
Okay.
I don't know
if you
that,
think so, but
that's the best.
But yeah, a potential April Fool's non-horror movie we think is a horror movie because it has similar tropes to other horror-related stuff. Like,
wasn't there another Mannequin movie?
Tourist Trap is the Mannequin horror movie.
Okay, yeah.
There is also Mannequin 2 on the Move, which is also probably horrific.
Mannequin 2 on the Move. That's such a weird title.
Yeah. And I think that's all the hotcakes for this week. So before we dive into our review, I'd like to recommend that if you can help the podcast, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/themadpancaker. All sorts of stuff going on there. You get access to, you can pick a movie for us to review at our top tier. And we also have, you can write a spoiler for, a spoiler intro, suggest a spoiler for us for at the beginning of the episode. And also you get exclusive access to polls and stuff like that. And in any polls that are also available to the public, your votes count for double on the Patreon. And you can also just go and vote in the regular poll on Facebook. So you can really vote 3 times, essentially.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
And with all the plugs and stuff out of the way, we'll dive into our review for this episode. So we're reviewing the 1986 slasher Slaughter High.
You mean April Fool's Day?
Yes, April Fool's Day. Interestingly, came out the same year as April Fool's Day and was going to be called April Fool's Day.
But Paramount said, no, we own the rights to that.
Yeah, they found out that Paramount was coming out with theirs, so they changed their name. So very interesting backstory there. And also not to be confused with Splatter You, a completely different school-related slasher film.
I'm going to splatter you.
Hey now. So this one stars Carolyn Monroe. We got Simon Scudamore, Kelly Baker, Sally Cross, Billy Hartman, Carmine, I'm going to butcher this last name, Ianacone.
It's Italian, something like that.
Yeah, it's
Ianacone?
Ianacone. That sounds like a good pronunciation. Good job. Gary Martin, Michael Safran, Josephine Scandy, John Segal, and introducing Donna Yeager. The director of photography was Alan Pudney, which I remember reading something about him. He did something else as well. Music by the famous Harry Manfredini, famously did the film score for Friday the 13th, and we'll have a lot to say about that in this episode. Edited by Jim Connick, produced by Steve Menagian, and Dick Randall. Written and directed by George Dugdale, Mark Ezra, and Peter Liddon.
3 directors.
3 directors and 3 writers? That's a sign of quality if I've ever seen one.
This movie is chock full of layered depth.
With that, we'll dive in. We start with the opening credits. Plain white text on a black background, the hallmark of a low-budget movie. But at least we get this creepy synth music playing while we watch the blood-red title ascend to the middle of the screen before going apeshit. Woolie's gone apeshit and shaking all over when it reaches the middle, like an explosion went off. And you gotta love that amazing 80s synthesizer. Some good stuff there. Before the rest of the opening credits can play, we cut to an establishing shot of Doddsville County High School as the music changes over into this rocking tune, this April Fool's theme song that they got going on. It's like this movie was supposed to be called April Fool's Day or something.
I don't know.
So inside the school, we meet Caroline Monroe and Nerdy Marty, leading him to the girls' locker room for some hunka chunka, or so he thinks. Marty McDork, oblivious to the fact that he's a nerd, acts super confident, tells her he's a sex machine. So he grows up to be Tom Savini in From Dusk Till Dawn? That's not what I pictured a young Tom Savini would look like. But as they pass by, we see a group of high schoolers, who definitely aren't in their 20s or 30s, pop out from behind a door, revealing that Caroline Monroe might not be as into Marty as he thinks she is, and that it's an elaborate prank. They quickly follow the two down the hall as the camera pans over to a bulletin board calendar with the date of March 31st, before one of them reaches back to tear off the paper to reveal today's date, April 1st, April Fool's Day. And this was supposed to be our April Fool's episode. And I wrote my notes here. I'm like, yeah, we'll be lucky if this comes out by June 1st. Which, when I wrote this joke, was actually a long time ago. And now I'm like, oh, yeah, we will be lucky if this comes out by June 1st.
Things come up.
Yeah, we'll get back on track sooner or later, like 5 years from now.
Yeah. Our catalog's still deep.
It is. And did I put an April Fool's Day again by mistake? Even the song says it's April Fool's Day. I guess I'll just watch it again.
I can't even find it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Usually they list the music credits on IMDb. I'm like, what?
So Carol, and that's Carolyn Monroe's character, easy enough, Carol, takes him into the girls' locker room, and he's already stammering. Wait, I thought he was a pro at this. But he does encourage her to tell all her friends about it. Yeah, he wants all the ladies to know that he gave her the best 5 minutes of her life. 5 minutes. I think I give him more credit than he deserves there. Boy. It's also at this point that I wonder if Caroline Monroe lost a bet to be in this movie, or needed the money to buy a new car like Betsy Palmer, or maybe someone is just playing an elaborate April Fool's joke on her.
Actually, I have a fun fact here.
Okay.
She was dating one of the directors at the time.
Oh, yeah.
She actually married him.
Yes, I did know that.
I thought I'd insert that there. I thought that might come up.
Yep.
And a lot of the cast didn't know that, and crew.
There you go. To be fair, she was I think she was pretty well established by this time.
Yeah, she was 35.
She's the best actor in this.
Yeah.
So they get into separate shower stalls to get undressed, but outside the gang approaches with all their gear in tow and knock on the door, and Carol tells them to get in there and hide. She goes to greet Susan at the door and fakes some small talk while the gang sneaks into the locker room and pretends that Susan leaves. Meanwhile, Marty sees some writing on the wall stating that Marty Ranson sucks. That's him. So he takes out a marker and he changes it to Marty fucks. Yes. Yes. But does he fuck on the first date? Oh, wait, wrong April Fool's Day. I'm like, oh, good job, Marty. Now we won't get demonetized. That's a YouTube joke because, you gotta watch the swears on the YouTube. Not that we're on YouTube, but I mean, I'm like, good job, Marty. Now we won't get demonetized. I might put that in there for be a YouTube episode joke if I ever do a YouTube episode about this. However, the gang began to set up their equipment for the prank while Carol pretends to get in her stall and turns on the water so they can do it in the shower. Marty gets out a ridiculous-looking condom that is super ribbed for her pleasure, almost like a comb. Like there's these giant, like almost like a glove. It looks like the fingers of a glove that are like you inflate a glove. It looks like that, and he stares at it with this like weird look on his face, like he's in over his head. All the while, one of them steals his clothes from the top of the shower stall, and just like blowing up a glove like a balloon, he blows it up like a balloon, and it flies off. Don't worry, Marty. I'm sure you won't be needing that anyways. Outside, the janitor sees all the 30-year-old kids' shoes out in the hall, then peeks through the window and continues on his way. Like, nope, not on any of my business. Nothing to see here. So Carol tosses a bra over the wall to Marty, and Marty says this is the best birthday of his life. Wait, it's your birthday? How much more are we going to rip off Friday the 13th here? We already have a Harry Manfredini score, and now the movie takes place on the killer's birthday? He exclaims, "Here's Marty," before opening the shower curtain. Note, he clearly has pants or shorts on in this shot because you can see him, the way it's cut, the movie's cut, you can see him right above his waistline there. So he opens the curtains, but instead of being greeted by a naked Caroline Monroe, he sees the gang shining a spotlight on him and start taking a picture of Marty's naked body as they all shout, "April Fools!" One of them even wears a jester cap. That may come up later. And when I say naked, I mean naked, as they cut to Marty standing there dumbfounded, magically without pants now. I believe this is our first appearance of Dick on the show.
I don't like Dick.
And I had to ask, come on, Perry.
Dick.
So, Perry, what do you think about this scene of naked Marty here?
I don't like Dick.
I do like Dick.
No, I don't like Dick. I don't like. See what I wrote here. I don't like.
That
Dick.
was the best part about making sure we reviewed this movie. Was I'm like, I already know what's gonna happen, and I can't wait to hear Perry's
is that
reaction.
why you chose it? Because there's Dick in it?
Yeah, because I wanted to see your reaction. I got a couple more movies with Dick in it that we can talk about.
No more Dick.
We should watch Horror Hospital.
No,
that's a fun
no. Sleep awake.
Jeez. Well, maybe. They proceed to hose him down with a fire extinguisher and poking him with a stick while shouting, "Where's the beef? Where's the beef?"
Jesus.
I don't think this is the kind of exposure Wendy's wants.
Yeah.
This is
just like
you talk about Lucky Charms not wanting to be used in something. I don't think Wendy's wants their name associated anywhere near this film. I assume they're implying that Marty's beef is small. What do you think, Perry? What do you think about Marty's beef here?
I'm not.
I do like Dick.
I'm not an expert, but he looks like he might be okay in that department.
Okay. I mean, I would have just said no comment, but good for looking out for Marty and the size of his Johnson there.
Yeah. Stand up for all the Martys in the world.
That's right.
Oh, God, help me.
So he tries to grab his clothes off the hanger, but they've hooked a car battery up to it to shock him when he touches it. Jesus, that's a bit excessive there.
Kill this guy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the janitor goes and snitches on the group to the coach, telling him that there are guys in there. And the coach questions, "Boys?" And I'm telling Coach here, I don't think you could still call them boys when they're all in their 20s and 30s. Although I love slasher movies that do that, where they have these way older actors pretending to be younger actors. It makes sense later on, as you'll see. Back with Marty, as if everything that has happened hasn't been traumatic enough, they also give him a swirly. I got a note here to ask, did you ever receive a swirly, Perry?
No,
neither did I. So
no.
I know with your...
I've never heard of it, actually, in our school.
Well, I was also asking just because I know... I don't want to talk about when you were younger, and I know a little bit how your brothers picked on you sometimes.
They didn't.
I mean, I
I've
know...
been duct taped to a ceiling.
Yes,
no
I do know that story, so I didn't know if, that seemed like a thing your oldest brother would do.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I was asking. Not to embarrass you, but just out of curiosity.
No. Whereas your brother wouldn't harm you.
Oh, yeah. I have a great brother. In fact, you might say he designed the logo for our podcast. So,
did he? No, I knew that.
Yes, he did. So shout out to our patron, AJ Sabino. He's also a patron of the podcast. Luckily, Coach comes in before they can scar Marty mentally for life any more than they already did. The coach asks, which one of you 30 years olds thought that this would be fun? And they admit that they came up with it together. The coach unmasks the jester, team captain Skippy Pollock, and he tells them all he wants them all in the gym after school.
Skippy Pollock.
Good old Skippy Pollock. He also questions why Marty is in the girls' locker room naked, and he tells him he got lost. Yep, without his clothes on, too. He sends him on his way. The coach reminds them to be there at 3:45 sharp, and doesn't forget about Stella, who tried to hide in a stall, but was betrayed by a reflection in a mirror. A for effort, at least, trying to hide and not get punished. With the coach gone, Stella says it's all Marty McDork's fault. Clearly it is. If he hadn't pushed Crispin Glover out of the way of that car... Oh wait, wrong Marty. In the gym, the coach is chewing out the group, but he notices that 2 are missing. Where are the 2? Why, they went to see Marty at his locker to apologize to him, and that things got out of hand. Out of hand? You guys just took a picture of him naked, electrocuted him, and gave him a swirly. I think they got a little more than out of hand. Marty tells them to leave him alone next time he is about to score, adding that Carol has the hots for him. Oh, Marty, you really thought you had a chance with Caroline Monroe. Well, maybe he did. She was really into Joseph Manel, so I will never say never. To make it up to him, they give him a joint. Oh, we got a top 10 quote of the year contender here. Yeah, I rolled the joint with my own fat hand. It's all in the delivery. I think that was an okay delivery.
There's some quotes coming up later.
At the end, got a really good one. One of the quotes at the end is definitely making it in. So the boys have to get back to detention, and Marty's going to the chemistry lab to make some 2,4,6 trinotritolin. I probably butchered that pronunciation, but I don't know. That sounds pretty close to 2,4,5-trioxin to me. Are we sure this isn't going to be turned into a zombie flick instead? Not that I would complain.
You know what he's making.
That's a bit foreshadowing. Right? Oh, yeah, that's my next note.
Oh.
It turns out that is TNT.
Yeah.
Oh, you say it. Say it. I don't want to spoil the thunder. Say it. Say it again.
Trinotrotoluene? What?
Trinotritoline.
Yeah. That's what I said. We took chemistry.
No, but I mean, say what it really is. I didn't want to
TNT.
There you go.
Dynamite.
The 80s. When you can make explosives in your school's chem lab.
This school seems safe.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I'd send
There's no
my
code violations here at all.
You know, everything would be
just as bad as
fine.
that staircase at that outward opening door in Halloween Ends.
Oh, God. Let's not get into the physics of that right now, please.
They give an over-exaggerated, insincere goodbye, practically giving away that they are up to something. Be seeing you, as they say when they walk away. Wait, your prank doesn't involve bees? Then why the exaggerated remark? Marty heads to the lab, and a guy passing by bounces a basketball off his head, and Marty flips him the bird as he walks away, but hurries inside when the guy turns around and threatens to throw it again. Look on the bright side, Marty. At least Christy Swanson didn't throw it, or else your head would have exploded. Or there's a reference to last week's spoiler again in this episode. Last week. Yeah, like these are coming out weekly. Back at detention, the gang are doing push-ups while the coach insults them. Well, some of them are doing push-ups. The first chick in line is doing like the worm push-up, like her body's flat and she's just pushing up her front half like a worm.
Yeah.
Carolyn Moreau and the one chick after her are doing a thrusting push-up. Or, as I also like to joke, are they doing like a fucking push-up? Like, it looks like, you know what I mean? Like they're kind of, you know, it's really weird. To be fair, that's about the quality of a push-up I could have given in high school. I was not good at push-up.
God,
I could do a push-up now. It's not pretty. I cannot drop and give you 20. But I could probably do like 3 to 5.
I couldn't even bench the bar without any weights on it.
You know what I can never do?
In
I
class?
cannot do a pull-up bar
When
to
I-
save
in
my
high
life.
school?
I do not have the upper arm strength
So
to
I
do
cheated.
the pull-up.
I cheated when I did my pull-up. The gym teacher saw it, so I climbed up the wall with my feet, and then I'm like, "Look, I did a push-up," and he just started laughing. I'm like, "I did a pull-up," and he's like,
I call it a push-up pull-up bar.
He checked past. I'm like, "What the fuck?"
For the like that presidential thing where you have to do so many. Yeah, I could. I would never be able to get that presidential fitness thing because I could not do a pull-up to save my life.
I don't know if it's like, yeah, it was so weird.
I don't even know how many you had to do. Like one would have been like amazing for me. Even though I've lost weight, I still can't. I don't have like the upper arm strength. I know you're looking at that rafter. Somebody used to do those off our rafter. Oh, Issa. Yeah. I think our buddy Tyler also did them occasionally. Anyways. So I also have here with a comment on that thrusting push-up. They must be getting ready for Marty. Wink. For that sex machine. The two gave Marty the joint, show up late, and Coach scolds them and gives them the drop and give me 20 cliche. But the two smart Alex give Coach some sass and he ups it to 40. And they continue with their sarcastic retorts and Coach ups it to 60.
What is he, Vern Troy?
That's what I said. I'm like,
whatever.
Yeah, and then they asked if they want to try for 120. I'm like, who does this guy think he is? The principal from the Breakfast Club? I never remember that guy's name. It's not a bad question,
Was it
Bert.
Vern? It was like Vern or something. Werner?
Yeah, I don't know is that the actor's name or the name of the principal?
No,
Principal Werner. I think you are right. I never remember that actor's name.
You know me. I'll get the...
Sure. I'll continue on while you're looking up. After the coach is done stealing John Hughes' shtick, we cut back to Marty and the ominous music. While doing his experiments, he uses the Bunsen burner to light up the joint.
Oh, it's Richard Vernon.
Richard Vernon, is that the actor?
No, Paul Gleason.
Paul Gleason, and then Richard Verner's the character.
Oh, I didn't know he passed away. 2006. Wow.
Yeah, I thought he since left our mortal coil, much like some of these characters could be leaving our mortal coil soon. But yeah, he lights up. Maybe, wink, wink. So he lights up this joint with the Bunsen burner. I'm like, yeah, nothing like getting high while making TNT. What could go wrong? However, go ahead.
Did you notice some of the music when he's in the lab? To me, it sounded like music from Home Alone, like John Williams music.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I have a lot to say.
Like,
about
is
the
he
music
turning into,
up.
like Macaulay Culkin, Kevin McAllister?
Who knows? However, the joint starts to pop with small explosions, but he keeps smoking the thing like an idiot. I thought nerds were supposed to be smart. Once something like it pops, like almost like those little snap fireworks, or maybe almost like a firecracker. Not quite that powerful explosion, because a firecracker, be a much bigger explosion. But I thought nerds were smarter than that. Like after one puff, he would stop, but who knows? He reaches to the top shelf to grab a bottle from it, and we pan back to the top of the flimsy shelf, just in time for a Friday the 13th style score and for him to put back this ridiculously oversized bottle on the top shelf. As he moves his hand away, it reveals a Friday the 13th Tempo magazine stinger and the label of the jar. Nitric acid. Hold on. Who needs that much nitric acid? Like, that is a ridiculous... I understand they probably do a lot of chem lab stuff, projects in there, but it's like a gallon, like at least a gallon freaking glass bottle of nitric acid.
Just
how much do they really need? Like, I would feel like a little quart bottle, maybe. I mean, if you need more than that, just reorder it, right?
I think it would be put away.
Yeah, it'd be,
safe.
So
I sent my kids to this high school.
Yep. And don't they know that you never put acid on the top shelf, especially one as flimsy as that? Haven't they seen the Beyond, for crying out loud? Marty keels over and coughs from the bad weed, and that flimsy shelf is already starting to wobble. That's what we call foreshadowing, kids. I don't know if you have a fun fact about the wobbling, but I don't know.
I think I've read something about it.
Yeah, like it really isn't because the shelf's moving without anybody even touching it.
It's
like
something
Marty's nowhere
with the
near
camera.
Yeah, the camera's right there and it bumps.
I think
he's
like holding it in something.
Yeah, I didn't want a fun fact steal from you there. For some reason, I was looking up stuff on IMDb about the cast, I think, and it was like the first bit of trivia or something.
Yeah, I didn't have that. So yeah.
Marty runs to the boys' locker room to hurl. While back in the gym, Skip throws a brick through the gym window, and then he drops another one on the floor. And I put, the oldest trick in the book. So the coach comes over and yells at him. He's like, what the hell's going on here, Pollock? He tells him, somebody threw this brick. It could have almost killed me. So the coach sends Skip to find out who threw the brick. And he heads past the locker room to listen to Marty puking his guts out. And he chuckles. So he heads into the chemistry lab and passes a ton of bottles of different acids on the shelf leading to where Marty was doing his work. And my only comment here is, holy shit, how many different jars of acid does one school need?
A lot.
I guess. He takes a beaker of fluid Marty is working with and dumps some sort of white powder in it. So they want to give him some bad crack now too? Or is this anthrax? It would honestly go right along with all the chemical acids in this school's chemical warfare lab here. We then get another Tempo magazine stinger as we pan back up to the giant bottle of nitric acid perched precariously on the edge of the shelf. Seriously, this shelf starts wobbling after just barely touching the table. Shakespeare couldn't foreshadow this hard. Skip heads back to the gym and Marty heads back to the lab, but the solution in the beaker pops with a small firecracker-like explosion, startling Marty. And this sets in motion a chain reaction where Marty accidentally knocks off a gas tube to the Bunsen burner, which catches fire, I think. It happens so fast, it's hard to tell what happens. Like if he knocked the Bunsen burner over and then it hit the tubing, or it's very quick cutting. And like I even paused and rewound a couple times and it was hard to tell what exactly happened. Oh, so I have here in my notes, if you pause the movie, you'll see that the tubing was already on fire and then came off. So yeah, like I said, I'm assuming that it's implied the tube came off from Marty bumping into it and he knocked over the burner, causing the gas to ignite it, or that he knocked over the burner, which set the rubber tube on fire, and then it melted, and then, obviously now it's connected directly to gas, and it causes the gas to light up. But the scene is so quick, it's hard to tell. In an instant, the chem lab desk is in flames. A trembling Marty tries to shut off the gas and suspenseful music, but he is shaking the table and the nitric acid falls off the shelf and shatters on the desk, dousing Marty's face in acid. Then the entire room bursts into flames and the explosion catches the attention of those in the gym who run in slow motion to see the hubbub. They see Marty inside, pinned under the flame-spewing gas pipe. He comes to and without knowing it, places his hands on the red-hot pipe, causing him to scream as the gang looks on in horror. Geez, this guy has been traumatized for life 5 times already. Enough trauma for 5 people. I'm sure it was his fault again, though, clearly. After the paramedics, attention dispatch, send more paramedics. So after the paramedics arrive and wheel Marty out on a stretcher past the gang, they pass Carol and she approaches the stretcher and apologizes to Marty, saying they didn't mean to. But Marty isn't having any of it as he springs up and Marty chokes her with the Friday the 13th Tempo Magazine stinger. And I'll pause for a brief moment here to talk about when I say Friday the 13th Tempo Magazine stinger, I'm not exaggerating. This stuff, anytime I reference Friday the 13th here, I eventually just stopped doing it because it's almost like implied. I stopped doing it in my notes. This is another one of those Harry Manfredini scores. It's not the first time he's done this, and I get it. Other composers have done this. They recycle parts of their scores. But when I say recycle, it's heavily recycled from Friday the 13th. It's like the same music, the same stingers, especially very reminiscent to Part 5, I think I mentioned in my last bite. So we cut to Carol in bed screaming as she wakes up in the present day. Her phone rings and she answers it. It's her agent, Manny, calling to see if she's going to do this picture. This picture? Well, she's already in it, Manny. So I'm assuming yes. Oh, wait, she's an actress playing an actress. I get it now.
Oh, my God.
Do you have a fun fact about this?
Yes, on the wall.
Oh, I thought you were going to be about the producer. Or the Manny here, her agent.
Yeah, after Harry Manfredini. Right.
Well, I could be mistaken. I believe it's the producer, Dick Randall, playing one of the producers playing the part, and that's why Pieces is on the wall, because...
yes, the movie Pieces. It's a poster on the wall.
Yes, but he was also the producer for Pieces, so... And
what? I feel like I read that, and then it.
And Don't Open Till Christmas. Check out my short stack blog up post on the website, themadpancaker.com, about Don't Open Till Christmas.
They don't say anything about
Xmas
him
or whatever it is. I could be mistaken, but I thought Dick Randall, the producer, played this part.
Yeah, but it doesn't say it in there.
It could just be under the cast.
Okay, anyways.
Moving on. So she says no. The guy's weird and the story is weird. Hey, that's no way to talk about Manny. Plus, this movie is okay. Also, the director has been locked up. See, kids, criminal record doesn't matter in Hollywood. That being the director of the movie that Manny here wants her to be in. Not the director of this film, although maybe one of the 3 directors has been locked up.
One of the 3. Will the real inmate please stand up?
So their main problem with this picture, she has to take her clothes off for the movie. I guess that means we aren't going to see her lovely bosoms in this. She adds not to give her any more breaks like this one. I joke about her talking about this movie, as in the movie we're reviewing, Slaughter High, but I think she might actually be talking about Slaughter High. So her agent counters, you know how many stars started their careers like this? Yeah, Carolyn Monroe. If it's good enough for Johnny Depp, Marissa Tomei, George Clooney, Tom Hanks, Paul Rudd, Jennifer Aniston, Leonardo DiCaprio, Mila Kunis, Jamie Lee Curtis, Patricia Arquette, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Jason Alexander, Breckenmeyer, and Charlize Theron, to name a few, then it's good enough for you too.
Oh, you missed really an important one. Kevin Bacon.
It wasn't his first, though.
You know what?
And not all of these were first either.
6 degrees of separation.
I thought,
Kevin Bacon. We're making money here.
Okay. Are we doing
Dolores, where's my bacon?
All right. So we gotta connect Kevin Bacon to this movie as quickly as possible. We're doing 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon with Slaughter High. Go.
This is gonna be a waste of our time. He was just in it.
He was just in it.
He was a door. He was a stunt.
Here it is, real quick.
He fucked Carol.
So no. Carolyn Monroe was in Maniac, which the special effects were done with Tom Savini, who did the special effects for Friday the 13th with Kevin Bacon.
Okay,
Boom.
there you go.
There you go.
Fist bump.
Although I don't know if we could have made a quicker connection, but that's pretty good. What's that? What's that? A rating of 1?
No, that's a couple of degrees.
Or 2, whatever.
I don't.
I don't feel like looking up that movie, how that system works.
Come on, let's digress from that.
All right. But yeah, I didn't include Kevin Bacon because I think it wasn't quite his first role. Plus, we talked about it.
Do I have to look at this?
Not all of these are their first movies either, but I did Google, I knew some and I wanted to talk about some, but moving on. So she said she'd rather go to her crummy class reunion and hangs up.
It was his 4th movie.
Yeah, that's why I didn't include it, because I'm like, how early is 4th? I mean, I know it's still early in career. And like I said, not all the people I listed, it was their first movie.
You know what his
some
first
of
movie
it
was?
What's that?
National Lampoon's Animal House.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I always forget that he's in that. So she said she'd rather go to her crummy class reunion and hangs up. That's some clever hidden exposition there. It's a Pope in the Pool level exposition.
What? Pope in the Pool?
Pope in the Pool. Good old writing trope. Frankly, she should fire her agent anyways. She could have been in Pieces. And if I had a soundbite of Linda Day George saying bastards, I play it here. That bastard. Bastard! And apparently, I may have spoken too soon about them breasts because we cut to a shower scene and her front door creaks open. And in comes the creepy music at POV cam, which eventually makes its way to the shower to give Carol a jump scare as the shower curtain is pulled open by one of her girlfriends. her girlfriend was with Ricky last night. Ricky? Oh, Ricky, what a pity. You don't understand. We could have reviewed a Tony Basil horror film. There's surprisingly 2 of those.
Are you considering Clue as one of them?
She's in Clue?
Yeah, right?
I don't think so.
Is that her?
I'm counting...
No, I'm confusing her with...
I am counting Rockula, which is a comedy rom-com with horror tropes, obviously the kid being a vampire. But there's another one that I see on Tubi. I'm like, geez, Tony Basil.
No, it was one... She was a... It was a different person than Clue. Was the whatever.
Yeah, I think...
Another singer.
I gotcha. So she's engaged to Ricky and won't make the reunion until later after she meets his parents. I'm sure that's not going to matter later. Carol finishes the conversation saying the reunion should be fun, and what have they got to lose? Judging by the Tempo magazine stinger, your lives? So the kicking opening theme kicks in again as Carol drives off in her car.
Here in my car.
Meanwhile, Skip is in his old school Volkswagen Beetle on his way to the reunion and hears the weather report of thunderstorms for tonight. What horror movie isn't complete without a thunderstorm? The disc jockey also tells us it's April Fool's Day. Coincidence? But up next is Barry Manilow, to which Skip says, Barry fucking Manilow? You gotta be kidding me. And turns off the radio.
I concur, Skip.
Wise choice. Just listen to the Harry Manfredini score instead.
All right, good question for you.
All right.
Who the fuck has a class reunion in April? School's still in session.
Yeah, still.
But I think...
To be fair, might not, could have been an off day.
There is a to be fair because these are English directors and they don't know shit about U.S. schools.
Well, yeah, it could have been...
maybe.
Their school session might run different than ours. Oh, well, I do have some comment. I have some jokes that after I read up about some stuff don't make sense. Or I should say they're not legitimate jokes anymore, but I'm still going to make them. He continues on his way and stops to pick up another one of the gang hitchhiking. Just like the last lady, I don't know her name yet. You're going to have to wait for me to get all these characters straight. That's the one thing. There's a lot of characters in this movie and they're very confusing. And maybe might need to take a brief break to sort out these characters. So we'll be right back. And we're back.
A dinosaur story.
And we still don't have all these characters' names straight, so you'll just have to put up with it when they finally come up on my notes and I figure out who these people are.
I wrote my notes.
So this random lady, I think this is Nancy, if I remember correctly. Her name comes up later. She hops in Skip's car, but it won't start. That's what you get for driving a car designed by Adolf Hitler. Ooh, oh, man. 2 Hitler references in back-to-back episodes? Yeah, fun little fact. He didn't like design.
We here at the Nazi party. I said not C, not Nazi, not C party.
Okay, I don't know what you're referencing. But...
It's the movie Tusk.
Oh, jeez.
I'm the guy that likes Tusk. What a good horror movie. Michael Parks is excellent in that movie.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Well, you don't want to watch it?
No, I've heard not very good things, but anyways, moving on.
What?
Although he didn't actually engineer the design, but the very first sketch of the concept of the car he drew on a napkin. Interesting fun fact. All those World War II magazines
the mouse?
Read.
I like the mouse.
The book? No.
No, not that Nazi book. That's a Nazi book.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the tank.
That's kind of horrific in and of itself.
I'm talking about the Nazi tank.
The mouse? No, I don't think he drew that.
Okay. All right. Let's digress from all this.
Moving on. Enough about Nazis for this week. We got in our one Nazi joke of the episode. As they...
Wait, no. I was going
What?
Never mind.
Oh, jeez. Are we going to get canceled again?
I was going to ask you who has a better mustache.
This might be staying in.
You need to delete this now.
Oh no, that's staying in.
I don't want to get
all right. No. We're gonna have a poll now.
No,
episode poll. I can do those on Spotify. Episode poll. Who has the better mustache, Scary Perry or Adolf Hitler?
Yeah. Are we talking about a different Hitler?
Oh boy, this episode is off the rails on the terror train.
Oh God, help me.
Speaking of stuff on Spotify, though, you should really watch the episode on Spotify. Wink, wink, wink. It helps out for us getting hopefully advertisers one day. Wink, wink, wink.
Don't watch it.
We need like 100 people. Wink, wink, wink. Set up some bot accounts. Wink to play the episode all the time. Wink.
Listen, or just let it play. Listen.
Did I wink enough? Wink, wink. Moving on. As they check out the engine, a truck pulls up and it's 2 more of the gang. Joey and Stella. His nickname is Bone Crusher. Okay.
Is he a wrestler?
I don't get the reference here. Carol speeds by in her car, and Joey ends up towing Skip's car to the high school where the rest of the gang is waiting. We get a POV shot accompanied by some eerie score here of someone looking through the door window, Halloween style. Kind of like the scene where Lori takes the key to the Myers house to drop it off, and Michael Myers is looking through the window. The gang try to peek inside, but can't see anything, and the school is locked, so they are stuck outside.
Okay, another question.
All right.
Where the hell are the other people in your class at?
No, they do make that comment. I don't know.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they do mention where the heck is everybody else at. I don't know if I have it in my notes or not. I might have just been like, all right, we're going to skim by that part.
All right.
So then Frank comes riding on his motorcycle and wipes out intentionally, and falls off his bike. But he's all right and gets a big hug from Stella. So he asks, who's got the beers? Well, if you need some brand beer, you can always swing by Walnut Lake and pick up a few. I heard they are half off. Listen to our very first episode, Intruder, to hear about Walnut Lake and
also while you're there,
all
pick
the
up
generic
some
brand food.
Diet Pepsi.
Yeah, Diet Pepsi. Half off. Did never hit the floor once. We promise. We fade into later on that night, and it's dark out, and they're all just hanging around outside, pounding the brews, wondering where everyone else is at from their class. Oh, see there?
Why wouldn't they just leave?
Yeah, the one does mention that coming up here. Perhaps one of them set it up as a prank, but no one admits to it. But Skip isn't just going to sit around, and he recruits Stella's cuck husband Joey to go with him around back to find a way in. Oh man, I didn't realize they referenced that this early. They head around and run into creepy music along with some noises coming from the bushes, but Skip dismisses it as Joey lifts him up to inspect the windows. Back out front with the rest of the gang, Carol and some of the others are ready to call it quits and head back to town, like you said they should do, when we hear a window shatter. Well, I guess that's one way to get in. Remember that thunderstorm the DJ forecasted? Well, cue that thunder and lightning, so the gang scrambles to the now unlocked front door and head inside. So props to filming in actual dark settings here, but the lighting makes it hard to see what is going on outside. Although it was more appropriate once they are inside to give it a little bit of added suspense because you can't quite see what's going to happen around every corner. I think the movie could have used a little more lighting so you could at least see a little bit.
Yeah, it was kind of dark.
I don't know if that was just the quality of the version on Tubi. I don't know if there's like a better version like on Blu-ray or something. I think
it was like
who did this Blu-ray? I don't know if this is a Vinegar Syndrome one.
It was Vestron Video Collector Series.
Vestron Video did
2017, and then they put it with a bunch of the movies in 12, like 4 movies. Class of 1999, Waxwork.
Yeah, I did see
976, Evil 2, The Unholy, Chud 2, Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College, and Chopping Mall.
Yeah, that's like, I'm like, where was that? Like,
it's like a hodgepodge of movies.
Where was that 8-pack of movies? Those are some bangers there.
And then I was also releasing one with My Best Friend is a Vampire, Repossessed, and Silent Night, Deadly Night 3.
Did I watch Repossessed?
Better Watch Out. That was an Arrow film.
Gotcha.
It could have been just the filming.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a better version.
Because it doesn't talk about
like
it.
Like if the Vestron one is like cleaned up, 2K scanned. So this is another one.
Because this was actually distributed by Vestron Films originally.
Yeah, so I don't know if, this is one of those that this is the way it was and that's the way it is type deal. Because it was also, it's not in full screen. It's in it's letterbox, like in the old 4:3 aspect ratio, I think it is, like for like a standard def TV, the old boob tubes.
Full screen VHS master print.
Oh, full screen. It's full screen.
Yeah, it's full screen VH. That's like the first DVD came in.
Yeah, I don't know if a widescreen does exist then. That's interesting.
I'd have to look, but I'm not
sure. Neither here nor there. Anyways, but Joey and Skip aren't at the front door, so who let them in? Bum bum bum. They call out to them and are greeted by a Friday the 13th Tempo magazine stinger jump scare, with Joey popping up wearing a hockey mask? Did I put in one of the Friday the 13th sequels by mistake? I've been joking about these stingers sounding a lot like those from Friday the 13th, but this one 100% is a stinger from the franchise. Harry Manfredini is really phoning this one in a bit. After scaring them, Joey quips, "Who do you think I was? Jason? Sigh. If only it were Jason. I guess we'll just have to wait until October. Hint, hint." The gang thinks they've been set up by Skip as the place is abandoned. With nothing better to do as they wait for the storm to pass, they decide to explore the place and check out their old classrooms, with one of them remarking, "Jesus, looks like Halloween." Well, it's not quite Dean Cundy's work, but it's okay. It's passable cinematography. Oh, I'm funny sometimes. We're given some more eerily music reminiscent of the Friday the 13th franchise. And by eerily reminiscent, I mean stolen or just reused from, as they check out the dilapidated school. For some reason, there's a bed in one of the rooms with a secret passage. Look, the less questions asked, the better. I'm assuming it's the bed of a character that's going to be coming up soon, but I like to think it's just some random bed that's in there.
It's just fucking weird. There's just weird stuff in this.
The rooms in this school also look weird. Like there's like a full furnished bathroom with a bathtub later on.
Well, I can. Yeah. Okay, so
I'm sure like that was not used in the school.
So the inside of the school is, but this no.
I know it's not the same.
No, it was a school though. It's a condemned grammar school. The inside of the school.
Yes, I knew the outside shots are different than the inside shots.
But listen, the outside of the school is an abandoned mental asylum.
I knew that.
It's all bad either way.
Yeah, I knew that the inside wasn't the actual inside of the. That's not uncommon with films. They'll take exteriors of one building and then film in a different building for different aesthetic. So they eventually happen upon a classroom set up for a party with food and drinks, and Stella remarks that reminds her of prom night. I mean, I guess, except for less disco and unbelievable red herrings. Random girl number 2 says it's spooky. Hey, just like Linnea Quigley, I like it spooky. Nobody finds it weird that all of their pictures are on the wall. They just chalk it up to Skip again, who goes along with it for some reason. Like, he's the one that would know, okay, this isn't me, this is freaky, now's the time to bail. But, he just lets it go on. And for some strange reason, all their lockers have been moved into the classroom too. So they check out their lockers, and everyone finds something that they lost. Random girl number 3 finds her pair of gloves on her locker that she lost on prom night. And one of the guys quips, that's not the only thing she lost. Pretty funny joke there, actually. What, did she lose her head like the guy in prom night? In all seriousness, though, like I said, this joke is hilarious. Carol finds the note from Marty asking her out to see a movie, and I think there's something on the back with some nonsense about saving a clock tower or something. Oh wait, wrong Marty again. But Marty's locker is also here, sitting all by itself away from the rest. They open the locker. Inside is another Tempo magazine stinger as a rat jumps out for a scare. I didn't know Marty was related to Willard. That probably explains a lot, though. There's another Back to the Future connection. The Willard remake, Crispin Glover played Willard.
Crispin Glover never ages.
No, like he looks exactly the same as George McFly in that movie. I'm not talking about like aged up George McFly.
I mean, it looks like the same in Hot Tub Time Machine.
I'm not saying like aged up George McFly where in Back to the Future, to age him up, they put the makeup on him for his 80s age, and then when he goes back in time, take the makeup off to make him young. He looks exactly the same. Inside, they find Marty's exposition yearbook. As they flip through, Skip tells us that Marty had 6 months of plastic surgery, but the skin grafts didn't all take and that he went crazy. Skip continues that he still roams the asylum, hoping to escape and return to the school so he can take his revenge on them. We get another Tempo magazine stinger as a hand reaches from the doorway and grabs Skip, but it's clearly his own hand. He does one of those, my hand's out of shot, reaches it forward and grabs him by the neck. Yeah, nice try, but those type of tricks won't fool me. Now stick a cigarette through a cord and we'll talk. The best magic trick ever, I think.
David
we can agree.
Copper, yeah.
Listen to our Terror Train episode to get that reference. The gang also isn't impressed with this joke, and Skip finishes by saying he heard Marty joined IBM and probably has forgotten about them. But enough about that. It's Miller time! And they crack open some brews while we cut to the school halls, and we get a shot of the halls with someone in a jester hat popping out. Bum. Back with the gang, they are passing around joints and snorting cocaine. Hey, you aren't supposed to see how much drugs they were on to make this movie, alright? That stuff's supposed to stay off camera.
A lot.
We get another Tempo magazine stinger as a random girl number 2 puts her hand on Skip's shoulder from out of frame and wants someone to escort her to the ladies' room so she can pee since she's too scared to go alone. Frank comments, remember, no boys in the girls' locker room, so Carol decides to go with her as they depart. Frank adds, watch out for the boogeyman, and Skip and him wink at each other. Wait, are one of them going to scare them in a white Shatner mask? How many slashers are we ripping off here and making reference to? As they wander the hallways, we get some thunder and lightning that casts a shadow of the jester on the floor from one of the doorways. It's a very cool shot, like the cinematography of it. And they don't play like a stinger over it, like, how some things would, to like really draw attention to it. It's just kind of blink and you miss it type thing. But it's a cool shot, it's like, the jester's there. Inside the locker room, the guys give them a jump scare as they pull open the shower curtain and pop out from the shower stall, causing random girl number 2 to piss her pants. Hey movie, I think you forgot to put a Tempo magazine stinger here.
Did she literally piss her pants?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
So quite satisfied with their work, the guys wander out into the halls, only to bump into that missing Tempo magazine stinger and janitor better stashed than Scary Perry, who yells at them for trespassing. Wait, this guy still works here? Well, now he's the caretaker, you see. When asked what's the difference, he says a caretaker takes care of a place, and a janitor, and at the caretaker's pause here, Skip chimes in, he janets it. Is that kind of how like a plumber plums?
Plums.
What, you're down in my English here? Check the dictionary, Einstein.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, I make that joke again later on. He remembers them and says it's okay if they want to have one last look around since the place is being torn down next month, as long as they don't start any fires again. Why does this place need a caretaker then? Sounds like it just needs a security guard to watch over the place, make sure nobody screws around. They could get that old guy from Hobgoblins to do it. He's looking for a job now that he quit his other one.
Just don't give him a gun.
Plus, he could double as the demolition guy to implode it and save from having to pay another person to do it too. That's like a 2-for-1 special there. You pay him the security guard and to be the demolitions expert. Implode that piece of junk school. Listen to our Hobgoblins episode to hear more about, what was that guy's name? McCready? Yeah, because it was McCready because I make the joke referencing The Thing. They give the caretaker a beer and tells him to enjoy himself before parting ways, which makes the caretaker Better Stash happy, and he wanders the halls to some upbeat, cheerful music. All of a sudden, the jester hops out in the hallway with the least intimidating growl ever for a jump scare. But before the caretaker can yell at him, the jester grabs him by the throat and lifts him off the ground with one hand for kill number 1, hung up to die. The jester sticks his head onto a coat hanger attached to a door. He also hammers his hands to the door for good measure, almost like some stigmata, like Jesus Christ type thing going on there. But he doesn't hammer the other hand, he just stops at one, even though there is a nail in there later and I see it. Also, this janitor/caretaker, he's black, so I'm like, the black guy died first in a horror movie. Shocker. Not to be confused with the movie Shocker. And if this is supposed to be Marty, how the hell did that scrawny wimp lift this full-grown man off the ground? Maybe he's been using that chem lab to whip up some steroids. Also, it only took us 40 minutes to get to our first kill. Jeez, come on, movie, what the heck?
Yeah, the fuck.
Now, I wouldn't say it's like a slow pace to begin with, but it's kind of interesting that, you see the people having fun, and the beginning opening sequence is almost like a kill sequence. It's all the trauma happening to Marty with the acid and stuff. There are some good effects there. The makeup's pretty decent. Back at the party, the gang are having a good time when random girl number 2 asks Skip if he wants to earn $10, and Skip says, Nance, you can have me for free. Oh, Nancy, that's her name. 1 down, 2 to go, guys. Like I referenced earlier, I remembered it from my notes. She takes out a quarter. Whoa there, Skip. If you manage to stick a cigarette through it like David Copperfield, I'll give you $50. She wants him to flip the quarter off his head into a funnel twice. Now, to set up this little game, she sticks the funnel down his pants, and while they have a laugh, and has him close his eyes. He easily does it the first time, but when he goes to do it again, the girls dump alcohol down the funnel into his pants while his eyes are closed. He loses his cool and the bet as his head springs forward and drops the quarter on the floor. April Fools! Wait, there's something all too familiar about this. People in a slasher movie, all friends playing April Fool's jokes on each other? Nah, couldn't be.
No. Nah.
Next, they challenge Ted to chug a beer, and he obliges and reaches for a can of Pabst Blue Ribbon. Oh no, nothing good comes from drinking PBR. Just like South Park, the PBR joke. I'm white trash and I'm in trouble.
Well, bro, you don't like Pabst, bro?
No, that's a joke. It's like
bro.
It's like a white trash beer. South Park makes a joke about it.
Bro, you want some of that Pabst, bro?
No. Rather than open it from the tab, he pokes a hole in the bottom with a pocket knife and manages to chug it in 5 seconds. That's the sign of a true alcoholic there.
He's shocking.
But what's this? The sound of the gang talking becomes distorted and Ted isn't looking so good and keels over, holding his stomach. He opens his shirt and his stomach is bulging and pulsating with some good old bladder effects, leading to kill number 2. Ted busts a gut. His insides burst through his abdomen from the poisoned beer as the music crescendos, eventually exploding and splattering blood on random girl number 3 as he collapses next to the table in slow motion. He clearly should have picked up the Colt 45 instead right there on the table. Right, Billy D? To be fair, even if he wasn't poisoned, there was a 50-50 chance of that happening with PBR anyways. Oh, PBR.
Was there a bottle of JB on the table?
I don't think there was. There was a lot of different variations. Like I said, there was the Colt 45. I think there was some actual Miller. I don't know if it was Miller Lite or just regular Miller High Life.
They got that too.
They had a couple different brands of beers.
But I mean, like how they, because this was filmed in England, I'm sure they sell it in England.
Yeah, they probably do.
Those are like big American things. And Pabst would seem kind of like that wouldn't.
Well, there was actually one of the actors was American in this.
Yeah, but they still filmed only in the UK though.
Yeah, maybe she brought it over. All right, we'll go with that theory. That's factual evidence now. I think it's the chick that plays Stella, actually. I think she's the one American actress. We'll say it's fact. It's fact. She brought it over. Back in the day, you probably could just take it on the plane. She brought it over to them. Fact.
Like, it's not like the TSA was that in 1996.
Yeah, I mean, customs, you just walk right through with stuff all the time. The slow motion isn't over yet, as random girl number 3 screams and the rest run out of the room. Oh, hey, I finally got a clear shot of the pictures on the wall. Random girl number 3 is Shirley, and random girl number 1 from earlier is Susan. Keep an eye out for her later. Sherry takes off as the Friday score kicks in again. Meanwhile, the others are already downstairs, but the doors are locked and Nancy finds out the windows are covered with electrified wire mesh cover that knocks her out when she touches it. What a shocking development. That was the lamest pun ever, but I love it. Did you like that lame pun?
It was good. I'm crying on the inside.
They notice Shirley isn't with them, and right on cue, we cut back to her as she makes her way to a bathroom with a bathtub. What school has a bathtub?
This is weird.
I understand the showers. That's legitimate. Locker rooms,
It's weird, man. I'm telling you, dude. I was like, what the hell am I watching?
Unless the janitor / caretaker put it in because he was living there, and that's I don't know. Who knows?
It's condemned? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. So I've also put, is this room from someone's house posing as a school? Anyway, she decides now it's the perfect time to clean up and take a bath. Oh, because she got blood splattered from, I think, that guy's stomach exploding, if I remember correctly. This ranks right up there with Sombrero and the blood pressure machine for worst decisions made while in a dangerous situation. But hey, who cares? We got titties! As she gets into the tub.
Yeah.
This scene is well done as there is no score and the only sounds are her and a leaky faucet dripping. Very moody. Meanwhile, Carl is kicking the wire mesh loose from the window so he can take their fastest car and go get help. There's a Carl and a Carol? That's confusing. I think that's the first time I referenced Carl's name, too. He was one of the guys that I probably couldn't remember. I swear there's just like one character that I can't remember how many guys were in the beginning, but I feel like there's a few characters short somehow. Oh, that was, I didn't talk about that in Storyhouse Massacre, but there's a character that just disappears from the movie. Literally, I'm like, now I have to watch the UK cut. I hesitated because it's full screen VHS. Now I have to watch it to see what happened to this guy because he doesn't get killed and he doesn't leave because one guy goes to leave and gets killed, not to talk about that movie. Moving on. So Carol gives him her keys, stating it always starts the first time. Have you seen a horror movie? You might as well have given him the keys to that Volkswagen Beetle. He makes his way out in the dark, and I mean the dark. Again, props for the filming at night and not just going for blue filter, fellas. But it's hard to see anything. He gets to her car, and sure enough, it won't start. While watching from the window, Carol remarks, I can't see. That makes two of us.
3.
But all they are missing is kill number 3, backseat killer. Carl sees the face of the jester in the rearview mirror, and we get a Tempo magazine stinger as he plunges a knife through the seat into Carl's abdomen. But hey, the car finally starts and begins to move, but to the shock of the gang, it turns around and parks, revealing with its headlights another Tempo magazine stinger as we see Carl's corpse strung up on the fence post. Back with Shirley, she's washing up with some soap. Honey, no amount of soap can wash away this movie from your filmography, okay? She reaches to turn on the faucet, but the water coming out is quickly replaced by another Tempo magazine stinger as acid starts to pour out of the faucet and fill the tub. Is it nitric acid like from before? It seems stronger than that. I know, Aqua Regia. She screams and the gang, save for Skip and Nancy, run to check on her. Shirley uses the shower curtain to pull herself up and sees the jester at the door window before becoming kill number 4, body melt. The acid completely dissolves her skin and flesh, leaving nothing but the gruesome sight of her bloody skeleton for the gang to find. Body melt. Body melt. There's my impression of the theme from Body Melt.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, another sweet effect using some good old stop motion animation for her face just dissolving down to the bone.
Yeah.
And to think I was ragging on this film for the lack of kills earlier. Here, we've killed off 4 people in 10 minutes. They conclude that Marty has come back to the future. Oh wait, wrong Marty. He's come back for revenge. In a funny bit, Stella tells Frank she's scared and embraces him while leaving her hubby Joey hanging. Outside, Susan finally arrives and Skip sees her car through the window and tries to warn her to go back. But she can't hear them and she looks for a way in. An outside light turns on and a door by it creaks open and she heads inside. Now, if there's one thing I've learned from horror movies, it's to never read aloud from weird books you find lying around. The Necronomicon, Book of Ebon, The Three Mothers, whatever garbage LL Cool J was trying to write. It only leads to bad things. In fact, just never read a book, period. Wait, is that good advice? Sure it is. But if there's 2 things I've learned from horror movies, it's to never go through a door that slowly and creepily creaks open by itself. Inside, she calls out into the hallway, but it's silence except for the creepy music. The lights go out in the hallway, and when they come back on, we see Marty standing at the end of the hall. But it actually is a giant poster photo of Marty covering a doorway. Except I'm pretty sure before they cut away, it was actually Marty standing there, and when they cut back, it was a poster. Either way, it's fun. However, as she nears the poster, we have a Tempo magazine stinger as a pair of hands burst through the poster for a jump scare and kill number 5, off screen to death. Now, I don't know if we ever actually see this character. I think she might be a character that falls from the rafters, the ceiling later, but I can only assume because, like, other than Stella and, like, Carol Monroe, a couple of the other girls kind of look alike. Like, Susan and Nancy kind of look alike, I think, and it's hard to tell who's who. I think it must be her, though, because Nancy gets killed in a different way outside the school coming up. Spoiler alert. But that's enough of that for now as we cut back to the gang and get another Tempo magazine stinger as Skip turns around and is jump scared by Frank. He lets Skip know about Shirley's acid bloodbath, and he in turn tells Frank about Susan showing up. Panicking, Skip asks, "What are we going to do, Frank? What are we going to do? We're going to call the boss." Bert, Frank, we have a little problem. Really? I don't know if it deserved a rim shot, but really? You don't get the reference there? What are we going to do, Frank? What are we going to do? We're going to call the boss. Return of the Living Dead?
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what?
He perfectly set it up. He's like, what are we going to do, Frank? So I had to complete the line.
All right.
I'll cut. Maybe I'll leave it in.
Over my head. Down on
Another joke I had to over-explain. Probably for the audience, too. It's okay. Frank says Joey saw a tractor when he came in, which gives him an idea. I don't remember Joey saying that. Who cares? Let's get on to kill number 6 already. The 3 guys go to look at the tractor, a riding lawnmower, and they plan on using it to bust through and get out. Although Skip is skeptical and losing it. You might say he's going apeshit. Well, he's gone apeshit. So Joey gets to work on repairing the tractor and tells Frank to watch after Stella and the girls. Oh, he'll do more than watch Stella. Wink, wink. Speaking of which, Stella confesses to Frank that she wishes she would have hooked up with him instead, even saying that he is the true father of her child. Who wrote this? Jerry Springer? Was he one of the 3 writers on this?
Rest in peace.
Yeah, he passed away this year, right? Yeah, just recently.
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
Also, she wants to bang him. I mean, several of your friends are dead, and she has her priorities straight because doing the hunka chunky is always more important than anything, even saving the world or surviving. As Joey works on the tractor, a door opens, letting light and the creepy score in, and another cool shadow shot of someone coming into the room. Joey thinks it's Frank and asks him to hand him the wrench, and we get a shot of a white-gloved hand picking up and gripping the wrench. And bashing in Joey's head for kill number 6? Nope, he just hands it to him like he asked. How very considerate of the killer. But the music ramps up as the killer pulls out the jack holding up the tractor. Joey tries to hold it up, and despite Joey's pleas to get the tractor off of him, instead the killer turns it on, cuts Joey's arms with a pocket knife, causing him to let go, leading to kill number 6, riding lawn gore. The tractor falls and the blades slice up Joey's stomach, splattering blood over his face. Yeah, that wasn't a good kill name. The other choice I liked less was intestinal tractor. Intestinal tract? I'm not giving up a gin to that. I didn't like that one quite as well because it was a bigger stretch of a pun. And a guy getting attacked by a lawnmower. Did I put in Lawnmower Man by mistake? The VR CG looks better than I remember. Oh man, we'll have to talk about the Lawnmower Man sometime. I don't know if that's quite a horror movie. Maybe it's a thriller.
Isn't Pierce Brosnan?
Yes, Pierce Brosnan. I forget who plays the mentally handicapped guy in there. Meanwhile, we join Frank and Stella post-sex as he gives her the "this has never happened to me before" speech. She counters that the Surgeon General must be right and smoking does damage your health. Also, titties! She also digs at him by asking if he's turned gay, to which his response is to move in for round 2. And we get to see Frank's ass as he does so. I don't know if this guy is famous enough to qualify as a celebrity ass, but I certainly never want to see it again. Back with the rest of the gang, we get another Friday the 13th Tempo magazine stinger as Skip wakes a sleeping Carol. Skip points to the squeaky ceiling, remarking, "While the cat's away, the dogs will play," right? Isn't that the other half of that line?
Maybe.
I know the expression, but I can't remember all of it. He just says the first half. Carol says they can't be. At a time like this, hey, like I said, there's always time for boning. Right, Tom Atkins? We then cut to someone fiddling with some wires as Frank is plowing Stella, and she wants him to talk dirty to her, and all he can muster is some fucks, tits, ass, screw.
Well, he's like...
something along
so here, I'll just read real quick. Stella,
sure.
Talk dirty, Frank. Talk dirty. Frank, tits. Stella, dirty. Frank, fuck. Tits. Screw.
Not very good in the dirty department, I see. As they are about to climax, we see a gloved hand flip a switch on an electrical box, and then get a close-up of some electrical clamps and wires attached to the bed, and we have kills number 7 and 8. Shocking orgasm. The Friday the 13th score goes into high gear as the two are electrocuted. Frank shaking all over the place is hilarious. He's just like, jeez, that guy's O-face. That's what we call in the biz a twofer. Oh yeah, I also say, so that O face of his is amazing. Like Office Space. Oh. Frank falls off, and for some reason only Stella's face is charred black. Certainly not one of the film's better effects. This is the one time they kind of phone it in. It's just but yeah, her face is just like darkened with like charcoal.
Yeah.
But none of the, like her tits are fine. Thank God those titties are still good.
Maybe they're just, implants or something.
Perry, you'd probably still tap that, right? She's still warm. If not, she's heated up a little bit more.
No comment. You're fucking sicko.
Now get into some necromantic type shit here. Nancy decides to check on Joey, only to find his bloody corpse underneath the tractor. She screams and tells the others, so they all head upstairs only to find the charred remains of Stella and Frank. The welcome back banner now has April Fools written on it in blood red. Wait, are we sure that we aren't reviewing April Fool's Day again, Perry?
I don't think we are. I think it's different.
It's British April Fool's Day. What?
Yeah.
Cheerio, top of the morning. I don't know.
Irish, they're
Hey, I can only do one accent, okay? You get what you get. Skip then unlocks his inner Linda Day George and calls Marty a bastard. Not bad, but nothing tops Linda's overacting skills. He continues to scream into the halls, challenging Marty to show himself, and right on cue, the jester steps into one of the hallways. This is a very considerate killer. He shows up when asked. They head to the gym next as the thunderstorm rages on in the background. Skip finds a javelin to use as a weapon, and Skip decides that their best plan is to stay put and keep their backs to the wall and wait for him to come to them. Burn the bridges behind you and keep your backs to the wall, eh? The classical strategies remain effective ones, don't they? So it's dawn right now. Thank God, I may actually be able to see something in this movie again. And Skip reasons that Marty will leave them alone at noon because April Fool's ends at midday. April Fool's ends at noon? Who the hell made up that rule? Sounds like some bullshit to me. Now, unfortunately, that joke doesn't have as much impact. I was reading some stuff. If you want to fill us in, Perry, we'll let you hit us with a fun fact here.
In England, April Fool's Day actually does end at noon. And if someone tries to do a prank after noon, not...
Yes, after the time period has expired. After 12 o'clock.
After 12 o'clock p.m., they are considered the April Fool.
Yes. What?
And the filmmakers didn't, since they're British, they didn't know it was different in the United States.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was being made for a wide audience probably too.
Yeah.
But Nancy blames the two of them for all this, saying that if Carol hadn't taken Marty into the shower, none of this would have ever happened. Well, that doesn't guarantee that the guys don't give Marty the explosive joint, which was the true cause of all of this. Remember, kids, winners don't do drugs. She adds that the two of them should have been the only ones to be killed. That's kind of harsh. Skip chimes in that all they have to do is stay awake. Wait, is Freddy Krueger in this movie now too? Cut to Skip fast asleep. Yeah, because, stay awake.
Yeah, I get you.
Cut to Skip fast asleep, but he is startled, which is very funny. It's all we have to do is stay awake and he falls asleep. But he is startled awake by the jingling of some bells. Is it from the jester's cap? Or maybe it's Santa? Have they been naughty?
Naughty.
Listen to our Silent Night, Deadly Night review. He goes to the door to check it out, but he gets Tempo Magazine stingered out the door as someone puts their arm around him and pulls him into the hall. The other two wake up and wonder where Skip is. And hey, there's only one more hour left until noon, and they are safe. Considering there are only 22 minutes left in this movie, I don't like their chances. I know movies don't run at real time, but Carol decides to go find Skip with Nancy reluctantly following her. So where is Skip? Oh, he's hanging around, literally, as he has a noose around his neck and is standing on a ladder in the gym. The silhouette of the jester kicks the ladder out from under him. He struggles, but the rope eventually gives way and he falls to the floor. The girls are busy checking out the bathroom. It is now spotless with no traces of blood or the skeletal remains of Shirley. The same goes for the bed, which is back to normal. Nancy starts to go apeshit. Woolie's gone apeshit. And lose it, and Carol does her best to calm her down as they continue to look for Skip, passing a jester's cap in the hall as the ominous music kicks in and a hand picks it up. They hear some noises coming from one of the rooms. They investigate to find a film projector playing the recording of their prank on Marty. Is this like the scene in Spaceballs where they have an advanced copy of the movie? They also find...
merchandising.
Yeah, there you go. Merchandising. It's all about merchandising. They also find Marty's yearbook with the pictures of the victim X'd out. But Nancy's picture just has a one-line slash through it. She must be next. That's all it takes for her to go apeshit again. Woolie's gone apeshit. And the spooky score kicks in as she runs for her life. She heads outside. Wait a minute. I thought the doors were locked. You mean the movie lied? However, the jester is following her, just casually walking with no urgency, but Nancy still panics and manages to fall into the pit of gunk from Phenomena that's right in front of her. She tries to climb out and pleads to Marty for help, but instead he gives us kill number 9. Marty gives her the boot. He plants the sole of his shoe on her face and shoves her back down.
It's a cesspool.
Yeah, it's a cesspool. Well, I call it the pit of gunk from... Yeah, to see Phenomena, but there's a big pit of gunk that Jennifer Connelly falls into. Let's make it a reference there.
Or a cesspit.
Yeah. That just leaves Caroline alone with the Friday the 13th score as she wanders to school and being frightened by running into a Tempo Magazine stinger as a door swings open to reveal the caretaker nailed to it. The music ramps up as she continues to run around the school. Maybe you should try the doors? I mean, we've seen they're unlocked. Just saying. She eventually hides in the women's locker room, along with the eerie Friday the 13th score. The women's locker room. Who would have thought that she would go back there to where it all began? She hides in one of the bathroom stalls, but hears a bubbling noise come from the toilet. She lifts the lid to check it out, and blood bubbles up into the toilet bowl. She tries to flush it, but more blood just rushes in, and the toilet bowl overflows. I think you need to get that plumbed. And like I said, check the dictionary, Einstein. Read my short stack on Psychos in Love on the website, mattpanker.com, for more about that. She leaves the locker room and continues exploring, following a thud she keeps hearing, and a basketball bounces toward her. Hey, basketball guy got off scot-free. Where's his comeuppance in this film? But this just leads her to another Tempo magazine stinger as a corpse swings down from the ceiling for a jump scare. And this might be Susan from earlier, who I said gets off-screened.
Random unnamed person.
Yeah, random girl number, whatever.
Shirley,
Temple, Susan, Nancy.
Pick one.
She runs away, but based on the music, I'm pretty sure Jason's just going to pop up in front of her at any moment. She eventually reaches the hallway with the Marty poster, completely intact again, and the jester bursts through, but she beats him with a bat she found along the way. She runs away, leaving the bat. Pro-slasher move there. As she runs down the hallway, the light bulbs above begin to explode, which is a cool shot. It also kind of reminds me of Terror Train, where the killer is busting out the light bulbs as he approaches Jamie Lee.
Yeah.
Although this is like magic, because they're just going out on their own. Supernatural.
David Copperfield magic?
Maybe. The chase continues, and the door she tries to open is locked and blocked by a Tempo magazine stinger as the jester appears in the window. And Marty now has the bat. Way to go, Carol. She runs and ends up in an auditorium, and she heads up to the creaky stage. Oh no, is Carolyn Monroe going to sing? I think that's more terrifying than anything in this movie. If you want to know about Carolyn Monroe's singing, check out Don't Open Till Christmas. She's not bad, but not great. And also check out my short stack review. Man, I think I've referenced like almost every short stack I've ever talked about. Then again, maybe her singing might kill Marty. Meanwhile, Marty trades up to a javelin and uses it to give Carol 2 Tempo magazine stingers by stabbing it through the stage curtain. But when she looks around the corner, all she finds is the ominous Friday the 13th music. She backs into another Tempo magazine stinger as Marty grabs her ankles and pulls her down. She swiftly kicks him and runs around a corner, finding a fire hatchet on the wall. She waits in ambush, but Marty stops at the door and goes the other way. But she hears footsteps coming back, and she uses the axe to deliver a Tempo magazine stinger and cause kill number 10. It was an accident. She plunges the axe into Skip's face. Does it count if someone else other than the killer kills a person? I'm going to leave it in here.
You know what bothered me, like the entire sequence of this chase?
Yes.
Is she's like has high heels on or something. Take your fucking shoes off.
Oh man, she's like a pro. She could run in those high
I know.
heels.
I was like, what the hell? But like, take them off so they don't hear. You don't hear you.
I hear you. She screams and runs upstairs, and as she reaches for the javelin, Marty lunges from off-screen at her. But she asks him, "Can you fly, Marty?" as she sidesteps him and throws him through the window in the gym. Yes, I just referenced the same 3 jokes and references over and over again, people. Get used to it. She pathetically tosses the javelin at him and takes off. And hey, look at that, it's noon! But Marty gets up anyway and grabs the javelin and follows her. See, I told you that rule was bullshit. She tries to hide in the women's locker room again. What makes you think that is going to work this time, Carol? Come on. He corners her in one of the stalls and removes the jester mask. She says, "Marty?" To be fair, it could have been Jason or Roy. The music was telling us this. He asks her how she wants it. Hey, that's what she said in the first act. It really all does come back around, doesn't it? This sets Marty up for kill number 11. Penetrated. He stabs the javelin into her chest. Then Marty heads out and goes apeshit. Woolie's gone apeshit, and I love every minute of it. He gives us top 10 quotes of the year material here. April fucking Fool, you motherfuckers. I showed you me, Marty Ranson. But there's still 5 minutes of movie left. The movie knows it too, as Marty hears voices calling his name. He follows them to the classroom, where Dario Argento must be filming his version of The Fog. And now, out of the fog comes all of his classmates he slaughtered as Zombie Ghost. Zombie Ghost? I think Marty might have got more than he bargained for with his revenge here. They taunt him in their spooky, distorted voices. He makes a run for it, but as he goes into slow-mo to open the door and escape the school, the ghouls are on the other side and burst through and attack him. We then jump cut to a bandaged Marty in a hospital bed, screaming as a nurse comes in to tend to him. So, it was all just a dream? Another April Fool's Day movie with no kills? Out in the hall, the emergency call alarm for one of the rooms is going off, and a doctor comes by to take a look. What is with this guy shuffling in the hallway? Is this a mental ward too? There's just this random patient in a schmuck.
This whole movie is shot in
shuffling.
condemned mental places.
Pretty much. The nurse is struggling with a patient, but when she turns around in slow motion, it's Marty! He gives the doc a Tempo magazine stinger. At kill number 1, I see you. He stabs him in the eye with a syringe. Oh, yeah, I guess that technically means he killed the nurse and took her outfit. So kill number 2, goodbye, nurse.
Yeah.
Look, I already admitted I'm reusing the same 3 jokes. Just be glad nobody was killed with a hammer, or else I would have had to use the it's hammer time joke again.
Oh, boy.
Then Marty looks at the camera and peels his skin grass off in gruesome spectacle. And then we roll credits and that awesome theme song plays again. So, does the nightmare become a reality? As I reference that bit again. Also, these are like the shortest credits ever. They're like barely a minute. It says like there's a minute 40 left, but they play in a minute in like the last, the ending logos and shit.
Were you hoping for a Marvel cutscene?
Well, no, but it's just like, damn, those are some pretty fast credits there.
Yeah.
So at the end of my handwritten notes, because I always take like some handwritten notes first, I put Curse of the Demon. And I'm like, what the hell is Curse of the Demon? I don't know if this was like maybe the movie that Tubi was recommending to me, or if it was one of the posters in the thing. But for some reason, I have down Curse of the Demon, which is another movie that also known as Night of the Demon, not to be confused with the infamous Night of the Demon or Night of the Demons with Linnea Quigley. So I have no idea, but I wrote it in pen because I had another handwritten note in pencil on there, but that was to remind me of a movie I've heard of that I wanted to remember for future reference. But it was in line with my other notes, so I don't know if this was like one of the movies on the wall. It is a British movie and has a different name. I think Curse of the Demon is the US name, and then Night of the Demon is the UK name. And like I said, not to be confused with the Bigfoot Night of the Demon or the US Kevin Tenney film Night of the Demons. But we rolled the credits, and that was Slaughter High. You got any more fun facts to hit us with, Perry, before we take the last bite?
Oh, I do. What was your kill count at?
Technically 2, because if it was just a dream, or did he wake up afterwards and is back in the hospital?
Or was that like...
If it was just a dream, I'm assuming he killed the nurse and took her clothes.
What if that was the beginning
I'm not sure.
The beginning of it all.
Yes, that was my joke.
Yeah.
The nightmare becomes a reality. You have to see Nightmare City to get the joke.
But if you count those with what you had before, add them together.
So if you add them together, where did I stop off? Give me a second.
Whatever was what's her name? Nancy's, right?
Carolyn Monroe's character. She was kill number 11. And then if you add in the doctor and assume the nurse, that's 2. Now, I don't know if the nurse is the one in the bed he's assaulting, because it looks like another patient. Although, funny enough, when it cuts back to Marty, there's nobody in the bed at all.
So it is actually... Well, this says it's the nurse, so you were right, 13.
13?
Yeah.
Spot on.
And unfortunately...
So, let's get the not-so-fun fact out of the way.
Shortly after the movie, Simon Scudamore, the guy who played Marty,
yes,
he died of an intentional drug overdose. The directors, they didn't really want to put the movie out, but his mother talked to him and reassured them that he was going for depression at the time, but the movie was a bright thing in his life, and he was really happy about it.
He looked forward to going to work on the movie. Yeah. It was like the one bright spot in his life. And yes, this remains his one and only acting credit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a bit of sad, unfortunate behind-the-scenes story there.
Yeah.
You got any more?
Yeah, I got some other stuff.
More actual fun facts.
Yeah.
And not sad and depressing facts.
So one day when they were shooting in England, like I said, it was shot in England, they had to stop filming because since this place was a condemned school, it was free range for them to do like pyrotechnics and stuff because they were going to demolish the building anyways. I think it's not. It's like
the
fancy
janitor caretaker wasn't lying.
So they set off a pyrotechnics, and the United States Secret Service stopped by and stopped production because Ronald Reagan happened to be in England then.
Ronald Reagan, the actor.
Well, the president at this time, so they cut it out.
Another Back to the Future reference.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the directors, so I think it's Peter Litton, he is also famously known for creating Max Headroom.
Well, there you go. That's cool.
The gym coach, is played by Mark Smith. They originally wanted to get Telly Savalas or Peter Lawford, but they both wanted too much money.
Yeah. The thing is, if you would have had Telly Savalas in there, you would have had to have him come back years later as the coach. He's a great actor, too. He's in Kelly's Heroes.
There you go. The budget of this movie was $2.1 million. I don't know how much they made. They referenced that they made like $90,000 between April 24th and 27th, like from when it was released. So I'm thinking it probably also made more, but I couldn't get the final number on that. So I don't know if they came close to breaking. Oh, that's not close.
I'm sure with VHS stuff later on, they did well enough.
All right. On IMDb, this has a 5.3 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score, there's only 5 critics that reviewed it, that actually count towards the tomato meter or whatever. So it has a 34% on critics, but this movie has a 0% audience score.
It's kind of strange.
Yeah.
I don't know how many audience members have actually reviewed it.
I don't know,
now
the logistics of that, but that's
Rotten Tomatoes. It's just it's either a plus or a minus, right?
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, it doesn't have a rating.
Whoa. I actually screwed that up.
Oh,
it has a 34% audience score. It has a 0% Rotten
See,
Tomatoes
what
score.
I need to do is become a critic, official critic, and then I can go to Rotten Tomatoes and just start jacking up the scores of all these movies.
I mean, I don't even know if it's for sure 0. It just is a dash.
Yeah,
dash.
that means that nobody's reviewed
They
it.
probably need a certain number of verified critics for the consensus.
That's why.
But they're all rotten, so I don't know, how that goes into their grading system. But anyways, I'll get to you for your final.
All right,
bite.
It's time to take the last bite.
The last bite. Wow.
Slaughter High is a fun, cheesy, and entertaining April Fool's Day revenge theme slasher. I love me a slasher where they try to pass off older cast members as teenagers, and this one is no exception at the beginning, even though the cast is all properly aged for most of the runtime. Still, there are some solid performances here. Caroline Munro is always a delight to see, and Skip was a fun character with all of his crazy antics and watching him freak out as the killings start. While not receiving tons of screen time, Simon Scudamore's Barty was a very entertaining performance, from stereotypical nerd to unhinged killer in the final act. The effects, for the most part, are surprisingly well done with plenty of cool kills, with the bathtub acid scene the standout of the crowd. And Marty's burned skin is pretty impressive along with the ghoul's makeup in the finale. I don't know if I missed it in my notes or if I referenced when they cut back and she's just the blood red skeleton in the bathtub. I can't remember if I mentioned it or not. I thought I had it in my notes, but I might have skimmed over it and skipped over the line. I mean, it's just one of those cheap prop skeletons, but it looks really cool because it's all like blood red, Plus, a score from the legendary Harry Manfredini is always worth it, even though much of it is recycled from Friday the 13th. I especially, as I noted earlier, recognized stuff from Part 5 if my ears haven't failed me. But it's not the first time Harry has done this. The Children is another one that has a very Friday the 13th sounding score, if I remember correctly. And even if reused, at least it is solid work. And throw in a sweet 80s rock theme song for good measure. Still, this movie does have some flaws. It is a cheesy B-movie after all. There are way too many characters to remember all of them, and other than the standouts, they all kind of blend together. Their acting ranges from okay to typical hokiness you expect from a film like this. The film is very dark at times, and while I give them props for filming in realistic dark conditions, a little lighting could have gone a long way. And as I noted earlier, however, this may have just been because of the version I watched. It was also in what appeared to be a full screen format. I'm not sure if a regular widescreen version exists with better lighting, and I just watched a crappy quality version, or if this was the type of film it was shot on and the lighting was always bad. It also suffers from some slight pacing issues, with it taking a little bit for the killing to start, but I don't think it hurts the film too much and helps to build suspense, and the filler parts to take up to that part are kind of fun with the gang all joking around. And when the kills do begin, the movie bombards you with them and cuts through the cast like a machete through hot teenagers. Plus, the epic finale with Marty's classmates resurrecting to attack him more than makes up for these shortcomings and give us another fantastic April Fool's fake-out ending. It may not quite be good enough to be considered a classic, but if you're like myself and love the slasher genre, this cult film is worth checking out. You'd be the April Fool if you played Hooky from Slasher High. My overall rating, 3.5 pancakes. And with that, I send it over to Scary Perry to take his last bite.
Some negatives about the movie. No real actor or actress stood out to me. I mean, maybe Marty a bit, but that's it. Also, some of it's cheesy. Some of the stuff is like camp. Just like odd,
Yeah, that goes with the territory, though.
This really abandoned looking school and nobody else is there, but, they kind of mention it. But once it gets going, like you said, it takes a while. The kills, they're really good. Special effects some of them are really good. Some of them are, just good enough that, they get by, obviously. And some of them were like kind of innovated, the kills, and some a couple of them were kind of go back to how he was tortured, like with you said the battery, getting shocked, the two on the bed. Yeah, the cinematography was okay, but yeah, like you said, it was dark a lot of times. I don't know if they cleaned that up in a future release on another DVD or a Blu-ray, because I watched it on Tubi. I'm sure you did as well.
Yes, that's where I watched it.
But, I'm also a fan of slasher movies, and it's really not that bad. I think it's definitely watchable. And the ending, to me, it was odd. I get the whole April Fool's Day, that movie, that ending. It's like a weird cliffhanger ending. I get it, like maybe that's some like...
It's very similar to Nightmare City.
But is it like, did he do it? Did he not do it? Did he kill these people?
Right.
Is it a dream? But like... you know,
Wayne's World Dream sequence.
like I'm sure the director says somewhere, you know.
I wish I had that stock flashback music, you know, where it goes, you know, that chime. I'm not going to try to do it because I wrote it earlier. I wish I had that. I would have played that there. I need to get some better sound bites.
And then
go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, and then at the end where they come back at Marty, you know, like that was kind of cool. So
yeah, that I mentioned in my last bite, but that cool makeup, they look pretty cool.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
for how brief that scene is, they put a lot of detail in those. That's a cool scene with the coming out of the fog and stuff.
I'd say that's probably where a lot of their money went is the kills and the makeup and the gore.
For sure,
because you know the acting was what it was, you know, and I think it's just that was kind of probably where they put the focus on, and maybe not so much of the music. To me though, when I listened to it, I didn't, you know, I've seen only the first Friday the 13th.
Yeah, if you watch a lot of them, like I said, it very, very much reminded me a lot of Friday.
I might have heard it a couple times.
Part 5 score.
Yeah, I might have heard it a couple times, but to me, it like, you know, it just registered as music. And yet, like you said, they had that kicking song, which I can't find it for some reason, but that was cool too. So overall, I'm gonna give this.
It starts off like that, and then it goes into like an actual.
Yeah, like these slasher movies, they get some pretty rocking songs like New Year's Evil. So overall, I'm gonna give this movie a 3 cannolis out of 5. It's
a respectable rating.
It's a decent movie, and I recommend watching it.
Like compared to last episode with Leprechaun, I gave Leprechaun a 3. That's a fun movie. I like this a little bit better than Leprechaun. So that's why 3.5.
To me, Leprechaun.
I know you didn't give Leprechaun as high of a grade.
It's not my style of movie, but this is more ingrained from being friends with you, Mad Pancaker.
Yeah,
slashers I like. So
New Year's,
but
Eve
I also like other stuff.
Well. I'm looking at this list of rankings here. I'm like, man, I really like that.
So
movie.
3, it's you know, it's respectable, and yes, if somebody
I like New Year's Evil more than Leprechaun though.
3 and it's
that up to 3.5. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're right.
You.
3 and it, you know, if somebody comes along and asks me, you know, should I watch this movie? Yes, watch this movie.
Like I said, this is one of those cheesy, cliched, very, you know, run-of-the-mill slashers, but it's well done for what it is.
It's different enough.
Yeah, it's fun. It's got a shocking moment with, you know, the shower dude scene that's kind of, like, funny because you don't typically see that. And I mean, this is a UK film, so, you know, over in Europe, it's a little more carte blanche to do that type of stuff. But in America, in the U.S., with the guys naked below the waist, it's very rarely seen except for, like, for a butt shot.
I'm not a fan of that, either of those. So
right.
When that comes right at my face in like the first 10 minutes of the movie, I'm like, oh God, I don't like dick. But anyways.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
The soundbite says otherwise.
I do like dick.
Oh God. Who did that?
I don't know.
All right. Anyways.
So do you got anything else to say about Slaughter High before we sign off?
I wouldn't go to that school.
Yeah, Doddsville. Oh, there's another good line. I didn't put it in the notes because I'm like, I can't put everything in my notes. But when they pull up to the abandoned school and Stella chucks the beer can at the sign and says, "That one's on me, kid." I'm like, that was kind of funny. I didn't put it in my notes because I'm like, I can't quote everything. I'm trying to trim down on this stuff and trim out some of this extra stuff that isn't as important. It's important to me, but I know for a review.
Did you notice the little continuity error? Because they graduated in 1976.
Yes, yeah, I did.
And then
I heard
that. It's not.
It's 10 years later, but
it came out in 1986, but they said it was 1980.
Right, yeah. So it's only 4 years later, and it's supposed to be 10 years. Yeah.
But I guess, you know, they make mistakes.
It's like Michael Myers being either 21 or 23, depending on if you look at the credits or if you listen to what they say in the movie. Got anything else about Slaughter High?
Nope, that was my last bite.
Oh, didn't you have a fun fact about one of the directors, Carolyn Monroe?
Oh, did I mention that?
No, I don't think you did. You talked about the guy going on to do Max Headroom.
Yeah, and that's a different director because we got 3 here. We have 3 directors here. So the director, George Dugdale, at the time, he was actually dating Carolyn Monroe. Not a lot of, I don't know if any, but not a lot of the cast and crew knew that. You know, they've been married until his passing in 2020. So
good for that guy, though.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I think she was in Search of Darkness documentary. She still looks fine. She still looks like a babe. But that was our review of Slaughter High. So be sure to check out our Patreon, like I said, patreon.com/themadpancaker. Every little bit helps make our low-budget podcast not so low budget. Any amount you can give is appreciated if you're in the position to give. Check out our website, themadpancaker.com. Got some short stack blog posts that I do there of horror movies. You can find all of our episodes on there. You can find my links to my YouTube there as well. So hopefully do some more stuff with the YouTube. I wanted to do quick kicks of Scream 6 and Evil Dead Rise, but I feel like that moment has passed. So I'm going to wait for Scream 6 to come out on Blu-ray and pick that up and then do a quick recorded review of it. And probably the same with Evil Dead Rise. But yeah, go there, check it out. Hopefully have probably by the time this comes out, because by the time I get done editing, I want to have another short stack blog post up on there. So check out the website. You can find us on social media. I'm the Mad Pancaker pretty much on everything. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Perry is at Perry Scary on Facebook.
Yep.
Not to be confused with the at Scary Perry account. Somebody beat him to the punch on that. And join us next time. We're going to be talking about some zombies on a train. Wait, are we reviewing Resident Evil 0?
What is this? Are we going back on the terror train?
Are we going on the zombie train? The zombie terror train?
Oh my god.
At least it's not Night Train to Terror.
Is this the Tubi original terror train?
Oh, geez, God, I hope not. But yeah, join us next time where we talk about some zombies on a train.
Zombies on a train. I hate those motherfucking zombies on that motherfucking
I almost
train.
said it too. So until next time, check please.
Delores!
The International House of Horror.